All right. Okay, live stream should be up here. Let's see. The official PoE 2 race finale, boys, starts in 15 minutes. The last race was exceptionally close, within 43 seconds of each other. Angormus defended this title barely. And Jose is using Rake only, which is making Angormus change to Rake only. So he's dropping Perfect Strike. And he dropped his time by about 5 minutes from the posted videos that he posted. So would that be enough to hold on and win his 6th title in a row? Guess we'll find out today. He's 5 out of 5 so far. But this gentleman right here, Jose El Diablo, has been speculated to be a well-known racer called Tide 23. So we'll see. Starts in 15 minutes. And the winner of the best time for the race this time, they get these, which are like a unique cosmetic here, but then also the mats are cool, but the real prize here is a divination card design. So you actually get to design your own div card that will be added into the game whenever they add div cards. So that's like another confirmation that div cards are in fact coming to the game. The last race was very, very close. If Jose didn't have to reset on Viper, if he had a little bit cleaner of a Viper fight, he could have actually won since it was only 43 seconds apart. That cost him about a minute. Or if someone died, it would have actually gone the other way too. So we'll see what happens today. Does this mean Angor's designing 2 div cards now? It's the winner of the fastest time from all 3 races. Could you explain div cards to those who haven't played PoE 1? Yeah, so divination cards are like an item that drops and you get a stack of them. You collect a stack of them. And once you have enough of them, you can turn them in for a reward depending upon what they do. Like some of them will just, you need 1 of them and it gives you a random, completely random item. Some of them be like you get 3 of them and you get 10 like transmute orbs. Some of them will be like you get 8 of them and you get a headhunter and they're rarer. So the div cards are kind of another way to farm. Hasn't he technically already won then? Well, if someone puts up a shorter time, the person with the overall shortest time from all the races, this is the final race. This is race 3, okay? So if someone puts up a shorter time than the time to beat right now, which is 1 hour 49.5, then that's the time to beat. And the person that has the highest time to beat out of all of them gets the div card. So it goes right up to the last race. What stream is starting soon in High Darth? This is the finale of the race event. So it's not the 3 fastest combined. It's the fastest of all of the races. So you look at all of the times from all 3 of the races, past and present, and the fastest one out of all of them wins. So if no one puts up a faster time than the 149, for instance, if everyone's time is slower than that in this race, then this is the winning time. So someone could pass that time by on this one. Predictions? I would put my money on Angormus. I mean, he won the 5 previous. I'd assume he would win the 6. However, we haven't seen somebody been able to put up a fight like the El Diablo guy did on the last one. So there is a chance for something else. You planning on playing 3.26? Yeah, after this live stream, actually. We're going to be practicing PoE 1. Angus pretty consistently beating that by 10 minutes. Yeah, I saw his posted video. He posted the video here, actually, of a 1:36.54, which would be 13 minutes or so faster, which is a huge chunk cut off. I mean, people are getting to, you know, 1 hour 36 minutes of beating Doriani is a crazy fast time. What did the last leaderboard look like? It looked like this. 1 hour 49, 5 seconds, 1 hour 49, 48 seconds, then 1:52.58, 1:57.36. So the first three were, you know, very close. Then it's a 5-minute gap here, and then the next like 4 were very close, and then there's a 5-minute gap. So I mean, it's actually a decently competitive race at this point. We're starting to get people that have times kind of all within each other. They didn't wait for PoE 2 for a while. They announced when the next league will be released for PoE 2. They did, actually. It will be in August. We don't know what's coming with the league, but they mentioned it in the Path of Exile 1 reveal that there's a new league coming in August. Why say some of these characters are retired? Because they would be like deleted characters from the previous race. Like there's no reason to keep your old characters. You can't do it in months, let alone 93 minutes. Just to Act 3 takes you months to beat Act 3. What is a league exactly? Is that a modified normal? A league is like a new season. Comes with new mechanics and a fresh economy reset. Hi, kitty. Kitty's meowing at me. All right, 9 minutes. Yep, well, I saw the interview with Destin also confirming August. Yep, correct. The casting was pretty good last time, too. Between Rise and Ziggy D. Will this be a Ziggy POV? This is an official, the official commentary, which will be from Rise and Ziggy D. But there will be, the production has like 4 screens up at any given moment. It's the average time. I don't know about the average, but the time to beat right now is 1:49 and 5 seconds. There's quite a gap in some time between both the classes as well as the players. How do you join the race? You just log into the game right now and click join the race in the bottom right there. It's a favorite class to play. I mean, I probably like Warrior the best, but I really enjoyed playing Deadeye, actually, which I never would have thought during this league. Cat needs attention. Gotta give her belly rubs. I better change the cat box real quick. She could be upset because of that real quick. 1 second. Will you be watching anyone stream during the race? I mean, we're watching the official broadcast, yeah. So we're going to be watching all of the point of views from the people that are in ahead. Yep. So plan what we're doing right now. Hey, I just... Kenny, you need to be picked up? Is that what you want? You want some attention? Kenny needs attention. Okay. Four minutes, boys. Here we go.
Welcome back, Exiles, to another exciting day. Our final race for Season 2, Dawn of the Hunts, part of Exile PoE Sports Action. Welcome back. I'm joined by Rise QT. Rise, we had quite the thrilling, I think the best race we've had so far last week.
True.
It's a lot to follow on from, right?
Yeah, I think it's not even close. We had some surprise attendees. Still not sure who it was, but they did pretty good. They got pretty close, Jose El Diablo, to beating Angormas within, I believe, 40 secons in the end. And they had a different approach, different strategies. Many players have adjusted their strategies ever since just because of this newcomer. And honestly, there was another player, also Bunka, that was seemingly coming up with some new strats and a different approach to what has mostly been people copying Angormas, our 5-time winner.
Oh, yeah. 5, like, last week in this Act 3 Doriani kill race that we have here for you today. Last week, Angormas's divinity was brought into question. His unbeatableness.
Divinity.
So far unchallenged almost. He's always had just like a kind of a comfortable commanding lead over everyone. But last week, he had a little bit of an upset in Act 1. But he was like back on form. He was back on, he would have been set to take his usual position at the top with a comfortable lead, even despite that, because that's what it takes. And yet we had someone just come out of nowhere. By the name of Jose was the account, but with a lot of theories about who they might actually be due to both the choice of name, how they were racing, and the fact that they were leading. And Act 3 began with Angormas 5 minutes behind Jose. He stopped to do his level 28 farm as he does to move into Act 3, and Jose just kept going at 23 and just pushed into Act 3 and was smashing his way through. Then we had the closest and most thrill. If you have not checked out that race, you need to go and check it out at some point after this race. Not now though, because we are about to start. But yeah, we had such an exciting and difficult to cast finish, as Rise and I had to like split our attentions between the two races because they were both doing so much at the same time.
We did kind of make it a point that because of this being a class race, we did kind of make it a point to observe all of the class wins, and that did not work in our favor as everybody was finishing all at the same time, and it did get a little bit crazy. But also, huge props to Angormas. I feel like I have to say this every single week because every single week he positively surprises me despite being the leader. Despite the fact that he was seeing all these new strategies and all these new approaches. And for the first time leading out of Act 1, there were multiple people who were ahead of him. He stuck to his strategy. He knew his timings. He knew how much time he's going to take. And he kind of stuck to his guns, and it really worked out. However, he did make an adjustment from last week.
Yes.
And apparently switched over to full rake.
That is
no
true.
more perfect striking in Act 3.
And dropped his time significantly.
I was chatting to him about this, and he was saying, I didn't want to have to do this, but I'm forced. The implication by Jose's...
Look what you made me do, in other words.
Bringing into question his domination. He was forced to go all out just this once for this final race this season. So we're about to see an all-out Angormas this time around. So we're going to swap over to the races as they are taking their mark, and any second now the race is about to begin. And on screen today we have Angormas up in the top left. Of course, we try to keep the people who are leading up in the top. 12 Guido up in the top right. Shakal Coach on a warrior down in the bottom left, and Worm on a huntress down in the bottom right there. And I'll give you a bit of a recap of kind of where we're at in
12
terms of
Guido's
time
playing
and
today.
things like that. But where's Jose? Well, we don't know like what their account name or character is going to be.
All right, boys, who do you think's going to win today?
Like if they're
Put your predictions in chat.
If someone starts kind of like going really fast, then we'll be like, that might be them. So if it is indeed the mysterious Tie 23, then they like to be a bit mysterious, don't they?
Oh yeah, for sure. But as we head off, we see a variety of different classes. Well, actually, it's 3 warriors and 1 huntress. For Worm, who has been practicing a lot, just about every week, he streams pretty much every day.
Pin subs on
the
Ing.
huntress runs, and so
that's
far,
a safe bet for you, I think.
the undefeated huntress. We've only had 2 huntress races. Well, 2 races that included the huntress.
I'll put a prediction up for you in chat.
Both of them.
We had Arco win. So I'll give you a quick recap of the positions from the last race. So Warrior was Gormus just
you got 15 minutes for the prediction. It's
that
up there
at the end over Jose, with 12 Guido actually being a really interesting racer. They're up in the top right now because they kind of came out of nowhere, and any other race they would have been just like the star of the show almost, aside from Angormus, because they were doing really, really, really well the whole race, and they had a close finish in the end. It was just kind of overshadowed by Jose's appearance, and all of a sudden kind of...
Right, that's my old memory striking. I was talking about Bunka earlier, but really it was 12 Guido. Yes. And then also, we had Arco on the Huntress win rather than Worm.
Is Jose in? We don't know yet.
Worm fan, so I'm kind of hoping it's going to pop off here.
Well, yeah, Worm had a very strong start last time. We were kind of like anticipating an extremely good race for them, and I think it did start to slow down a bit towards Act 3. So we'll see if we've smoothed out some of those issues there, and if Worm is able to, take a potential Huntress run. But it was Arco with 159 and Worm with a much slower finish in the end of 2.5 hours, despite the early really good start. But we had on Mercenary, the second fastest class overall was Alex Racing at 158 and Vocus with 206, but I don't believe Alex is here today. I don't think Alex is able to make the race today. So we might have a bit of question as to who's
look at that
taking Mercenary.
12 Guido with another player next to each other in the town. But also an interesting start for Angormus so far. I believe this is the 3rd race in a row where he's unable to buy his spear, but for these early levels, he did get something that is very good in PoE 1, but also the early stages of the game, PoE 2, movement speed boots for Angormus. So that's definitely going to help him out.
He got movement speed boots already?
Early stage, and it might even help with, so far, one of the most challenging bosses that we
actually, I forgot to run ads.
One of the early bosses
beforehand, so we're going to get ads during the live stream. I'm sorry.
Killing all of our players. This isn't a hardcore race for anybody who hasn't watched the previous one.
Might as well run it now before we hit anything that matters.
But the times getting so close to each other last week is pretty impactful. So if you do die, you have to sit around for 1 minute. You're not able to micromanage your inventory or really do anything. All you can do is plan ahead and get pissed off at maybe the mess up that you just committed to.
Yes, well,
that's not my Windows. That's the caster's window.
A death is not what you want. But yeah, we had both weeks. We had quite the bloodbath in the in kind of the second zones there. But for now, though, we do have some players taking on Beer of the Rotten Pack with Worm getting on there with a bit of a an interesting combination. We've got like we've got the spear with the whirling slash to lay down the air, and then swapping to the default attack on the 2-handed mace. So they've obviously picked up a decent mace and chosen that for default attacking. But we always see such an interesting and strange diversity of setups in these very early zones where we've got people like casting Frostbomb and using a crossbow and things like that. Oh, Worm just eating a massive hit from the spread of icicle projectiles there. And reminiscent of shotgunning there, and going extremely low, getting frozen, but thankfully not dying. That was a little too close for comfort, though.
That did look like the infamous 5% crit that everything seemingly in PoE has. It's 50-50. Yeah. You either get critted or you don't. But it's still a pretty decent kill for Worm with most likely a conk effect linked to his auto attack.
Guido is the first to face Ariadne, the Slayer of Exiles from the previous races. Something about Ariadne this season, he's getting backed into the hut, into the witch's hut. Is this not really where he wants to be with like the volatile plants
The
going off and her kind of built-in ice explosions too? All those icy fields she plays
Plants
down.
have been nerfed
The
now.
frost breath, she just is too scary, right?
Oh,
And he had
interesting
that
though.
portal pre-placed.
Resets to
Yeah,
get rid
the
of the plants.
portal pre-placement, I mean, yeah, it's in a weird spot, but he clearly planned ahead with so many people having to kite this boss to such a significant degree. I
Actually,
don't
pretty
know
smart.
if
Keep
this is
him in the
gonna
hut.
bite
Yeah,
him, though.
it's actually pretty
He
smart.
makes it work.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the
That was
less you run
impressive.
around, the more damage you can do. Yeah, it's risky, but he seemed really in control. That was probably the cleanest kill that we've seen so far.
We see some creative solutions to the difficulty that is Ariadne, which she's just had some.
Again, that's not my
Also-
Windows
this
sound.
season.
Sorry, that's the casters.
I saw
Yeah,
Angorma's
Angorma's-
idea crossbow. It had like 1% crit chance. He's like, I guess that'll have to do. So he's worked out the crossbow. The crossbow default attack's pretty solid. And if he hasn't picked up a spear at this point, yeah, he's on the crossbow. Like I said, we see some strange diversity here. He's got a pretty good
Crossbow
Ariadne
just for the
here.
witch is smart.
She's got like the ground explosions, but those are well signaled. He's able to move around. He's not eating too much of the breath. The crossbow giving him a little bit of extra safety as well. Might have been a conscious choice after his last week upset
Friday
to
farthing the
Ariadne,
witch.
where she
It
did,
gives you a support gem.
Right.
I feel like he had a
Support
couple
gem.
refills, a couple resets on Ariadne last time, so
Yeah.
he's probably a little bit rattled after that one. He did lose like a minute on that boss last time, so much cleaner kill this time, thankfully for him. Bunkard down in the bottom left is also on Ariadne, but using a bit of the spell action here instead.
It is very reminiscent of the old school PoE 1 racing with everybody struggling to kill Hellrake. Since then,
Yes.
the boss has had its AI reworked. It's not nearly as much of a challenge, but definitely very reminiscent where a lot of people's runs pretty much ended in the second zone. So with that happening and having such a large influence on people's overall time last week and the week before, many adjustments made to the Ariadne approach. No rips so far. I think last week you saw
No.
like 10. Like, it was
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah, and probably even more that first race. It was quite brutal. But we're
Right,
having
yeah.
an interesting start here from Angormas, where he still hasn't managed to pick himself up a spear. He's gone for the much more classical Season 1 Angormas style of the animation cancelled rolling slam into bone shatter action. But it looks
Mhm.
like he's determined to pick up a spear this time. He's like, I've got enough cash. He deletes the maces and he's ready to go. So we'll start seeing players using stomping grounds and disengage, backflipping over their opponents, stomping away, dealing those mighty pulses of damage. I love this little section of the race. It's so fluid and entertaining watching them backflip around and destroy things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I have to agree. We're already getting linked some interesting placements on the ladder with Guy That Dies, another contestant who's performed really well in past races.
Let's see if
I
Jose's
don't
on the
believe he was
leaderboard yet.
playing last week, but he's done really well, especially in the first season of our first 3 races, and his name being Who is Jose? Does he know? And then we've got another player called Green Mana, whose name is Guy That Dies is Jose. Interesting. Okay.
There's gonna be so many people like named around this just to confuse us, I feel.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll refresh the ladder and keep an eye out and see if we can find the actual Jose, if even they exist, because maybe it's just like, a mask that anyone can don.
Oh yeah, we're all
to
Jose.
fill a role,
I wish.
Yeah, to fill. Yeah, we're all. Yeah, I wish too. I wish too.
God damn. That guy was pretty good.
Does it come with the powers, or do you have to have the powers to wear the mask? That's the question.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, many familiar faces. Sorry, on the ladder so far, but nobody really standing out in particular.
Jose's
People
not
are
on the
getting
leaderboard.
really good at Act 1.
Not that we've seen yet.
Who's surprised? I mean, that's
probably prepping
typically
for
the thing
PoE
that
1
you
race.
practice the most, as most people reset in Act 1. So you're going to be getting good. And it was honestly kind of surprising how good some of our contestants were in Act 2 and Act 3, with Angormas definitely being the most dominant. But he still would tend to put a pretty big gap between himself and everybody else around midway Act 1. But now, many people getting closer. And if we take the ladder as something to judge our players by, currently Angormas is not even in the top 5, I believe, on the ladder. So a little bit more emphasis on pushing rather than XPing.
Yes, that and I mean it's possible that him kind of like being stuck with his maces for a little bit longer there at the start, using a crossbow, things like that, didn't kill quite as many packs, but yeah, it's a lot of little factors about how much stuff you actually kill while trying to explore the zones. If you get
I mean,
lost,
another
you're probably
close
gonna have
one.
more
Without
XP, right?
Jose, I don't think so,
Oh, yeah.
man. Jose's
But,
not on the
Guido's
leaderboard.
doing the patented backflips over the Rust King now, which is it destroys the packs at the same time. It just keeps you moving. Rust King just gets absolutely pulled apart piece by piece, backflip by backflip. No worries there. I don't think we've seen an upset so far with the disengage tech.
What's the race to? The race is
against
to
Rust
Act
King,
3
but I love
Doriani.
to watch it though. It's certainly makes a bit of a mockery of them. Although Angom is getting a few little decent auto attacks there from
Time
him.
to beat's
Pulls off the stun
149.
and now gets to put out a fair amount of damage here.
Yeah, and already a little bit of an adjustment from last week. It seems like he's trying to jump primarily through him. Maybe some of our players were missing damage last week, but it does seem rather tricky. You know, last week it did look like people were jumping next to him. This week, Angormus much more focused on jumping right through him, which does tend to lead to.
He's already 2 minutes behind
So,
normal. Yeah, but his
there's a
Act
little
3
bit
is
of
like
a
5
clip
minutes
here
faster
that
than everybody.
Production is,
Oh
he went a
my.
little low trying to pick up a
Oh, I didn't even
pick up
catch
a
that.
white item
Whoa.
there. Yeah, he went a little low trying to pick up a white item there. Almost cost him. What was that, a pair of gloves or something?
The
Probably
greed.
not worth it if he had died. Yes. That's, but he does, it doesn't matter. He pulled it off. He knew what he was doing. It was calculated. Maybe.
The PoE
Maybe.
classic. Every time we try to pick an item, never backtrack, guys. That's what the checkpoints are for. Come on.
You gotta keep moving. Absolutely. Billabrella down in the bottom right now as a sorceress, doing a bit of that frostbomb action combined with the other setups. I do like that the frostbomb kind of makes that early appearance. It's very strong early game tech for the characters that can take advantage of it. Nice explosions to destroy those packs, but and it's good enough that you can kind of weave it in off cooldown in between your disengages as well. So even though the Sork also picks up the spear, as everyone does in season 2, we get that frostbomb explosion woven in, which I quite like.
Yeah, I have to go for a little bit of a refresh for whatever reason. My stream is falling behind. Maybe something that we should all do all together. Sorry for
Bunker's got a bit
interruption.
more weaving in of skills too, with like a bit of spell casting in between each backflip too. It's interesting to see how the Witch is playing the early game here.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more interesting than just like the Warriors and Mercs, which go for just pretty much stick to the disengage.
Yeah, I wonder actually what's happening with Monk this week as well, because Sarge, for the first time, did not win last
That's
week.
true. Sarge,
Despite winning the 4 previous Monk demis. I believe last
I don't
week
think
on
Sarge is
rank
even
1
competing in this one. I think he's playing purely one.
was-
We had
Can't
Rock
remember.
Moblox with a time of 2:06 take Monk last week.
Yep.
And everyone who won last week as well was the fastest timers overall, which we had a
12
pretty substantial
Guido is
increase
playing
across the
very
board of
well
everyone's
right
time.
now,
So
by the way.
there is, in addition to the like winning your demigods trophy item for each winner of each class.
12 Guido is the one who
we
won my
also
highest
have
level
the
in
overall
the
over
Arbiter
3
race.
weeks competition of who gets the fastest time for each class, and a fastest time overall as well, which Angomas holds fastest warrior and fastest overall currently. We'll see what happens today, but
You have to be level
currently,
6 in order to
otherwise
use
it's
Rake.
Alex on Mercenary, Arco on Huntress, Limez on Ranger.
They just hit level 6.
Rock Moblox
You can
on
see him
Monk,
equip it now.
Aperion on Sorcerer, so we watched a bit last. They had a pretty interesting race, and Bunker on Witch, all currently holding those times. But I wouldn't be surprised if those times get faster again this week.
Yeah, and another interesting naming scheme from Rark Moblox. His name is Neon Mark Ruckus, which are all of the names of our PoE2 main dev.
Yes.
Is the Neon behind the scenes? Has he been practicing?
Mate, we do know that Neon's pretty good at the game. I don't know how his
pretty good.
Aurabot kind of tactics and transfer over to a race though. But
Yeah, I remember playing with Neon like 12 years ago, and he was abusing Frostmine. That was very naughty, Neon. Very naughty. That was back when Frostmine was totally OP, and he was the support Frostminer for ETOP. So that guy is definitely capable of some tricky stuff, you know?
So invoking several times over the powers that be, effectively to try and get some grace in this race, perhaps. We do have Guido moving into
Maybe.
the first boss here, the Mausoleum of the Praetor. We do see racers kind of like trying to push the levels up on both of these zones. To
Guido
get as much
seems to
XP
be
as possible
ahead
because they're
so
feeling
far.
powerful, but the bosses can still be a bit scary. So we'll see how he goes against Draven. Of course, the mobility of disengage proves very nice. Gets a good shock there at the start, and that's contributing to some nice extra damage on these disengages. And I feel like a
That's a
refresh on the
lot.
shock, as it's still sticking around. The shock has been up this whole time just for that 20% extra damage, and that'll be 1 or 2 less disengages by the end there. And the shock drops
Oh
off
my.
briefly, only to be reapplied. There's some excellent. They've also obviously got some nice lightning
Hey,
damage
kitty.
on their gear right now, maintaining that,
That was
shock the whole
extremely
time.
effective. That was super
really good.
good.
Super
Yeah.
fast race there. Because yeah, you often see like a
I
shot
love to
come
see
down
Guido
early and then
doing
it
well.
gets you a little bit of bonus damage, but it falls off. You don't really get to reapply. That was up like the whole fight. That was really good.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I really like that a lot. Angormus trying to keep up. We're in Bunka. Everybody really pumping some levels. Interesting approach from Bunka. Going for a chest. Not really something that we see all that much in PoE
Yeah,
2. I
yeah.
wonder if he's going to be getting anything useful here.
He's
Well,
having to
drop
work
him
for it. Oh yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, while trying to tango with those packs there is eating a lot of the little chaos projectiles from the strongbox. And it's a little hard for us to tell. Picks up a rare shield, which they do put on, so it was obviously good enough instead of the scepter that they had in their offhand, which probably was doing precisely nothing for them.
I mean, a shield does come with a cost. I believe it's 3% less movement speed, but with the power of
That's true.
disengage,
Oh,
maybe it's
Angormus.
not
Checking
as
the leaderboard
impactful.
for Jose again.
That was a very fast kill from Angormus. So Angormus conversely had a bit of a higher level for Draven. I don't know if that was taking on Draven second. No, he's going back to consort now, so he was just kind of slightly ahead on terms of the skill setup, and we did get to see that first glimpse of the Rake disengage just absolutely delete Draven. So Angormus has picked up some huge damage here, in addition to the advantage of the skill being the better one than disengage for the actual damage. So that was huge damage there.
Yeah, and Gormus's practice is really giving him full control of his character, and with that mechanical prowess, that just allows him a little bit more time, a little bit more breathing room to think about his gear and optimize his inventory. And really, it has shown in the last week how big of a difference it can make for damage, as he seemingly every week really is by far the best gear warrior. So I wonder if that's going to work out for him here too, with some of the other players getting closer to his times and maybe putting up a little bit more of a fight. Because that's kind of the thing about Path of Exile, right? That the faster you go, the more difficult the game gets, and the less room you have to really think about your decisions, and the more you end up dying. So you're always trying to balance all of those components for an optimal racing time. And Gormus really has shown so far that he is the master of this in PoE 2. As he approaches another boss, how will this one look like in the top left for you guys?
You got a random stone charm, which is the one that gives you the stun protection, which is, I think, a really nice get. Not something that you can normally rely on. So just that is it, because I don't really think they do any. That's a huge sitting getting deleted. But not really something they rely on. They don't really do any of the side quests that give charms that I recall, right? Because like usually that would be going to do the side area to get your spirit buff, and that you get some charms there. Usually you'll pick up some like a sapphire charm there to move through the end of Act 1. But the races just don't do that anymore. Like they cut as much as they can from the race, trim the fat as much as they could.
Yep,
straight into
back
Lachlan,
in the first place.
gets the stun right away. Huge shock, massive damage. And Gormus is just tearing through these bosses right now. They're a little slower in the early stage there, and it kind of started to fall behind a little bit on the progression leading into the last zone, but now has taken the lead in terms of actual progression here, moving into the hunting grounds, and is just whipping around so fast with that rake. They have, like you said, they've been really practicing control of the character and have some excellent animation canceling and disengage usage. Getting blocked by a rare rower here, right? Kind of getting a little bit of a pincer attack from the mobs in the corner there, but manages to clean through.
It's looking like a 6 out of 6 for Aang.
With another Lachlan fight in the top right. How smooth is it going to be? Not nearly as much. There's a lot of chill. There's a lot of dangerous abilities in this fight. You're trying to use your HP as a resource. He's continuously jumping into those chills, not having nearly as much access to single target.
Whoa. The dodge on the
What is
slam.
actually happening? How come he's not raking?
Yeah, I wonder why we're only seeing the distant. Oh, some unique boots from Guido there.
They got the
I do
Briar
wonder why
boots.
we're seeing only the disengage there. There's a move speed life boots. I don't think they have any strength on them, which is the main thing you want, but still move speed life's pretty good. there's the rake comes down now. So I don't know why it took so long to get that rake going.
They have the gem, maybe.
Was that
Definitely seems beneficial to have it up earlier, doesn't it?
Yeah, was he just spaced out, or maybe there was a dexterity issue? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Well, he does have a little bit of inventory piling up now. A chest piece potentially they can
Cat's
equip
chasing
for
the
some of
mouse
the
on the
bosses.
screen right now.
Otherwise, you don't want it equipped 24/7, as it does provide a penalty for your movement speed. And Gormus takes down the bell guy, whatever his name is, Crowbell, I believe.
Crowbell.
That's the one.
Crowbell.
Crowbell, yes.
Cowbell.
I see.
Gotta have more
Approaching his
cowbell.
Crowbell now. The Crowbell. Show some respect.
The Crowbell.
He's got the Crowbell.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, not
Yes.
just Crowbell, not just any Crowbell.
There you go. He's the one. But a quick fight, much faster than his Lackland with the power of Rake, and especially in these early stages, the bleed that you get from just the flat amount of damage that you get on your weapon early on is pretty meaningful. Later on, the guaranteed bleed from the Rake isn't going to be as impactful. Although some players do choose to use Lacerate if they manage to get an early 4-link, and that allows your Stomping Grounds to also provide a little bit of bleed, maybe allowing you to get, a few extra kills here and there, mobs that you otherwise will leave behind when they don't get one-shot by the Stomping Grounds animation cancel tech.
I do see people asking about Lachlan's Ring and the belief that you do need to do that it is mandatory. It is not actually mandatory. Lachlan's Ring is optional. But I believe, it costs you the ability to identify in town with Sin, like that, identify all. But the races don't really take advantage. They don't really spend any time in town, right? Town's lava, as you often say, Rise. So
yeah, I mean, look at Angormus right now. He really wants to spend as little time as possible here. This is also why you're always micromanaging your inventory. And I gotta say, as much as we're talking about that, he is taking a little bit extra time, but with the loot that he's previously acquired, he's going to be walking out of town with 2 extra passive skill points, something that also our players have been optimizing. They've been really learning to have a good read on this zone in particular because of that loot mini quest. And it provides a little bit more safety. And also in these early stages, I mean, especially, 10 strength that you would get from this because of the 2 passives, that's a big deal. 10 strength is a lot.
Oh yeah, that strength is converted to damage straight up for Stomping Grounds. It is absolutely huge. The racers all want as much strength as they can get, and the more strength they get, the more potential that they can stick with Rake Stomping Grounds into Act 3, which is very fast, but for some of the classes especially, is a little bit... Is it better to stick with it if you just don't really have that strength? It's a little tough. Thankfully, there is that fallback of the travel nodes on the tree being customizable in Path of Exile 2 means that even a witch can rake Stomping Grounds in the early game here. And it's been wild to see just how much things have changed from season to season. I anticipate next season of Racing 2, things are going to be very different once again, because we did not have spears last time. Now we have Antiphus is all for one there. Now we have the spears being absolutely dominant, both for their movement and the Rake Stomping Grounds.
3 shields with strength for 12 Guido. He really can choose whatever.
Yeah, 11 strength in the shield is huge.
He doesn't have an infinite.
They only need strength. If you're wondering why, it's because they're using Stomping Grounds, and all their damage comes from the amount of strength they have.
Not having those wisdoms as he gets stuck on a.
So for gear, the only thing they care about is strength. It gives them life, so they don't die, and it gives them damage from Stomping Grounds, which is all the damage you need to get all the way through Act 3.
So far, as we've seen from him last week, as Angormus is already over at the Executioner, which is probably not going to be. Yeah, he's killing it. I mean, if he gets to do anything out of that stun, not really. Just like that, these early bosses really do die very quickly. As Angormus gets himself, no way. Did he just get the strength spear again?
No, last time? Yes. Yeah. Same spear as last time, I think.
No shot.
Yeah, he got the unique again?
I wonder if he used it this time, because we were wondering, like, it's really high damage, but it is a bit slow, and he did use it last time. It's good for
weapon swap on
use it again this time. He's pretty. He seemingly hasn't whacked it on right away, so that's pretty funny. We did see a bit of a chuckle from him though, seeing that one just again.
It's a fuckload of damage.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that it's an interesting adjustment because remember how last week we were talking about how that spear it has very little attack
I'm gonna
speed,
grab a Corona real quick. One
and
second.
he pretty much immediately equipped it, and it did kind of look like it was costing him a little bit. You know, it was the Tabulas Taitai Killer syndrome, where you know you equip an item that you're not super familiar with, you don't quite know the power of your character, and plus that negative attack speed that he would have otherwise did seemingly slow him down. So this week he opts to keep it as he's pretty much one-shotting everything anyway. So why suffer that penalty? But I'm sure that he's going to be switching it over to it at some point.
We have been seeing a bit of, well, not on screen yet, but maybe getting them on screen soon. Since they're up there now on the top right. Guy that dies on the warrior was actually leading ahead of Angoma slightly and did get their executioner kill a little bit beforehand. And as we can see, you're a little bit further along in the manner. So Guy that dies on the warrior currently taking the lead. They had a little bit of a rough earlier act, but they have pulled it together since then and been a bit going quite quickly now.
Oh shit, Guys
So
That
we've got them
Dies
on the
is in
Spectate
the
client now, taking a
wait.
look at them.
Guy That Dies is
always
actually
been a
blasting.
really strong PoE1 player. He's kind of somebody who's really always flew under the radar because PoE1 at this point has so many players who have been playing for so long and have practiced and everything. But it's really hard to get into PoE1 racing, especially as it does literally take years to learn all the techniques and everything. Even players like Exile, who pretty much took like 4 years of insane amounts of practice to really get to the top and get really good. Guy That Dies is somebody who has been around for that long and always has had really stellar performances, both in PoE1 and in PoE2. So seeing him put in the extra work this week and do really well, really nice. And yeah, we did, not see him last week. And there was a Jose El Diablo.
Rise. Did we see Guy That
It's
Dies
not
last
him.
week? Was this a question where we're like, all of a sudden there's this racer, Jose, who are they? They're winning. And then we didn't see Guy That Dies, and now this week we see Guy That Dies winning. And do we see Jose? I don't know.
I'll check for Guy Who Dies on the list.
I mean, I think they're
Right?
taking advantage of the meme. Because,
Guy Who Dies was not on the leaderboard
like
last week. He was not on
you
the
just
leaderboard
watch the
last
way
week.
he manages his inventory, the way
He wasn't
he's
on the
just a
leaderboard
much
last
more
week.
aggressive
I'm looking right
player
now. He wasn't.
overall. But who knows? Maybe he spent a week in the practice chamber and he watched some of the
While
best
it comes
players,
over, yeah.
and
Oh.
maybe.
All right, Count Geonor, first phase, instantly deleted. The shot comes down on the second hit, and lots of damage dealt. Now he has to wait out a few attacks from Geonor. We have him full screened up right now as he's the first to take on Count Geonor. Moving into the second phase, we'll see how clean a phase he gets once Geonor's done with, like, let me show you all your abilities. Hold on. I'm not ready to phase just yet.
Angorma's just reached the dialogue phase as well.
We might have to split screen it for part 2 maybe, so that we can keep an eye on both of them. Although here we go, second phase for Guy That Dies. Let's see if he can manage to avoid any sort of poetry instantly into the beam, but does stun him out of it. That's pretty good. Doesn't even eat that one beam that was appearing under his feet. And some excellent damage coming down after the shock. Expertly navigates that frost breath and straight into the kill, sending the wolf all the way up the wall, almost out of the arena.
That was the ad phase beginning for Guy That Dies, so he really squeezes out that kill. That was absolutely the ad phase beginning.
Angormas! What just happened?
He died.
Did he eat the frost breath? We were just talking about the frost breath dodge.
Oh shit!
I don't know. Have we ever seen this?
That's the second time that's happened. Well, not on this boss, but he died to the breath from the Chimera in one of our previous races
breath.
too.
Ooh,
And it was a cold
shit.
breath
Now
too.
it's competitive,
It
boys.
seems to be Angormas's kryptonite here.
Yeah, the icy
Minus
breath
1
from
minute.
boss is just catching him off guard. Chilling, indeed.
We might have a race on our
Angormas
hands again.
Devastated right there. Furiously trying to make his character move as we see how the countdown. That doesn't appear every second, by the way. That's just because he keeps pressing the move every second. So we get the second by second countdown on the left.
Oh wow!
Props.
Props to production for the split screen. I gotta say that I was about to say, nah, we don't need to split screen it, guys. Like, nobody's ever gonna die to this boss. Everybody's gonna be so good at it.
That one. But we might want to wait until after the boss fight to see it, because Angormas is going to have a reset on the boss here. But these
and
races...
he was close to the end of the fight too, so he's really going to have to
That's a brutal
I mean,
upset.
he's gonna have to do the entire dialogue phase
Oh,
again,
that's like a
right?
2-minute loss.
Look at him.
Yeah.
He brought out the tower shield and the strength spear, just like going, okay, I'm maximizing damage. I'm maximizing defense here.
Yep.
He's getting ready for this next phase. I don't know if there's some cold resist on there, maybe. He's
Oh
checking
man,
his, checking his gear.
I wonder if he remembered to equip the if he remembered to equip the spear, if he would have lived.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
that
it
would
might
have
have
made
been
all
one
the
less attack.
difference.
It might well have been. He gets the stun very early on with that
Crazy
extra
damage.
damage
He has
there. And look
crazy
at that. That's just
damage.
such a fast kill.
Faster
It
damage
was the
than Perfect
Frostbeth.
Strike even.
Didn't get hit by it a second time. That's the Angormus we know and love there. Just absolutely deleting that boss. Usually with extreme confidence, Gino just getting embarrassed. But wow, not this time. Angormus with the early upset. Reminiscent of last week. Last time it was Ariadne. Now to Count Gino. And that is
Yeah,
that is something we have a clip now, I believe, as well, to check out what happened to Angormus that first time around.
Oh, we got a
just
clip.
to
All
relive
right, here
that
we go.
misery. Oh yeah, production. Show us what we got here.
Surely it's
Set
the
up
frost
fight.
breath.
Pretty clean
Yeah,
so far.
yeah.
Wow.
He was almost out of it too.
The breath is the only
He
thing
got
that can kill you
frozen.
like
Just
that.
kind of that last little second of it. Oof.
Brutal, devastating. Yeah, but that's really one of those abilities that is so easy to dodge, right? So you, as a as a racer, you don't really take it too seriously. You're always trying to min max your damage, and saving yourself half a second by not dodging that a little bit earlier ends up costing Angormus probably about a minute and a half. Something that last week would have made all the difference with him only being ahead of the second player for 40 seconds. So a minute and a half lost here.
Okay, we got a race now, boys. We got a race.
I don't see any Jose's, but we do have a lot of players very close to Angormus right now.
Or do we? Because we do have Guy That Dies now taking a nice lead over Angormus with that upset, being a full zone ahead. He just started the quarry, the mines, and was that a unique ruby ring just there?
Racing's back on the menu,
What
boys.
that one was. Unique ruby ring, yeah. Shredding through some rares here in the mines. Lots of XP to be gotten through this section. It was an XPing area. Well, the subterranean area, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if
heading over to his boss.
We got the times for the first boss there now. So Angormus 42 seconds on the first fight, then a 60-second death timer with a 23-second second fight. So it was a much faster second fight with that re-equip and the increased determination there. And your 1.5 minute assessment was pretty close there.
Yeah, and Angormus was showing a lot more respect to the bosses now, immediately swapping over to his single target spear and dealing with his boss very, very quickly. An advantage that he full well knows how to utilize after previously dropping that spear already last week. But nonetheless, Guy That Dies in the lead so far, heading over through the quarry and into the mines, deal with another player killer from last week. We did see some rips to the dynamite lady.
What happened to Guido? They're not showing Guido on the screen anymore.
We did see Angormus die to it as well in one of our previous races. So another boss that players tend to disrespect, and every now and then it bites back. As 12 Guido begins his hyena fight. How much face tanking are we going to be? Whoa, 12 Guido. So much damage.
That was beautiful. It was going into the first slash phase, which the damage from that is really high, so can definitely be a real concern. But I like the little portal out there too. It was quite good. We might have missed 12 Guido because they were covered up by a Guy That Dies, who we are watching through the spectator client. But yes, apologies for that. But 12 Guido did just take down their hyena boss, and they had a little moment there where they were scooping up the loot whilst kind of the load screen was appearing for the portal, which I quite like. As that's usually, sometimes racers will even kind of just skip the loot from that boss. Yep. But kind of best of both worlds there to an extent. Not able to grab everything, but some of it better than nothing.
Yeah, I remember there were so many different strategies in some of our initial races. People were going for the Devour. Now that's pretty much entirely skipped. Nobody's really doing that anymore. People would do this thing with Geonor where they would go kill the candle guy while Geonor was dropping his loot. Now everybody just goes. You really can't afford to waste any seconds. And Bunka Nicely, you guys aren't seeing it again, but he was nicely dodging through the beam that took down on Gormes. And Worm, unfortunately, with an ad phase. The first one, I believe, that we've seen so far.
That's
gonna
kind of
spoil it
blasty. He's
earlier,
catching up, though.
Not quite, but yeah, just a bit of a slow second phase for Worm and an early ad phase. A bit of bad luck combined with not quite as much damage, it seems. And now has to dance around and listen to some poetry for a while. Want to be avoided. There was a time when most people couldn't avoid a poetry phase. It was pretty much guaranteed, but we've definitely got to the stage now with the current spear meta for this season and probably this season alone, where it's completely avoided. Not
Listen,
so much.
I'll just say, if you guys like fast leveling and you enjoy Rake, level some characters now, because oh my god, Worm really?
No, stop, please.
That was.
Well,
that was crazy.
3 of the beams back to back. It's like rolling out of one only to be positioned perfectly to take the next one. Almost takes a fourth, and the fourth might have been death, but just manages to narrowly dodge roll out of the way. Not having
It's
their
looking like it's
going to
be another good race,
they
boys.
Get it
I mean,
done.
it's pretty
They're trying
close
to mash
already.
down the portal. They get it down and get out of there.
Guy that dies is
Wiping
ahead
some
still.
beads
He's
of sweat
playing
from
pretty
their
well.
brow, no doubt, after that fight. But, didn't die. And that can't be said for everyone.
Guy that dies is currently in the lead with Angormis,
up
a
to
close
the Trader's
second.
Passage. I don't think we're going to be seeing any ascending from any of our warriors. This is something
Just showing
that
who's in the lead.
we haven't
Saboba's
seen in
in
some
the
of our
lead,
other classes,
followed
primarily
closely
Witch.
by Skywalker.
I wonder if that's going to be happening this week. I think Witch can save
Hopefully
a
that
lot of
helps you
time
figure
by
out.
not ascending and just sticking to Rake. But I think many people were questioning the late game Act 3 bossing potential of Rake. But as we've seen from last week, they really shouldn't be questioning it, as just about everybody is going to be raking in Act 3. And that's something that I was talking about before. If you guys enjoyed the rake, level your characters now, guys, because I don't think we're going to be seeing it anytime soon after this patch.
I definitely foresee some changes happening to Stomping Grounds that might move it outside of the realms of this race. But yeah, who even knows what racing is going to look like next season? It's been interesting to see just how dramatically it's changed from season to season here. And then, of course, we're going to be having new content added over time, and who knows, new acts at some point, new skills, new classes, new weapon types. It's all going to change quite a lot. Will Angormis maintain dominance on Warrior? Will someone else take over? Oof.
That sounded
GG
perfect.
overbuff Rake.
I don't care what universe you're from. That's gotta
Still gonna be
hurt.
watching Rake for the next 3 months. Who knows?
Maybe we get a new support gen that adds an explosion to disengage. Yeah.
Okay, I think disengage is gonna get hit too.
We'll see.
Dynamite Lady
Here
for
we go.
Angormis.
Yes, we're moving into another scary boss that has given some people some upsets, but done cleanly does look like a complete pushover where you just
Bro, what the fuck?
nothing
That was here?
threatening
Yeah,
occurs, but
I can do
done
some
not
Star Wars
cleanly,
impressions.
pulls out that melee, she one-shots you. But not for Angormis this time. Look, he's doing like you said, he's taking it seriously now. I feel like maybe
He's catching up.
the first time, too confident, overconfident.
Look at the way Worm is playing.
That-
That's
I
a lot
love
of
it.
PoE 1 tag, dragging the chest piece, so
Yes.
taking it off to maximize his movement speed. And you can see that with PoE 2, you can really utilize this tech to an even greater extent. He is struggling a little bit. So maybe not something that he's incredibly used to, but if done well, yes. Taking off that chest piece and salvaging some of that movement speed goes a long
Worm
way.
has a very well optimized early game and has practiced a lot of these like little micro techs. Was kind of not as practiced in Act 3 with the general kind of racing aspects, zone navigation and things like that. But they did catch my attention last week with some of their tech, like removing the chest piece during combat. To an
I'll
extent,
remove your
far
chest
greater
piece
than I've
during
seen
combat,
anyone
you know
do.
what I mean?
Which is funny because like the current skill set means that you're not really walking all that much, but your movement speed does actually affect your dodge roll, which is happening a lot.
So you've got 12 Guido with his Ruja fight. As he goes offline?
12 Guido has Rage Quit
Sorry,
confirmed.
whoa, Caster Curse taken to a
What?
whole nother level.
What just occurred? That was
I
all of a
mean,
sudden.
He was
it
talking
possible
shit.
that there
I
was a-
disconnected him, Ziggy.
Was there a Ruja death that resulted in a tap out?
Actually,
07 in
stream?
chat, boys, for
Possible?
It's
Guido.
possible. Yeah, we've seen that
Like stream
from.
delay.
We
He's
were
got
talking
bad
about that
connection.
before. That we did see that from Tie 23 before, where he was participating in one of the qualifiers, and Exile had a funky name, and there was a whole thing where he thought that he was losing, and then he just quit. So maybe this was one of those
Yes.
things where he thought that he was behind. He's not as good in later parts of the game. He might have had an unfortunate Ruja rip and just called it quits. I wonder.
Yeah, and
Hope
with
not.
like a stream delay of 5 seconds or something, you might like die and then instantly disconnect the stream, and then
Yeah.
you would not actually see it on the stream because of that delay. But I'm not sure. We'll see if the stream comes back up or if there's technical difficulties. But
Well, we can
either way, that
spy
might
on
be their
him
race.
in game.
Yeah, are they still going? Maybe we can get their character name and see if they're still online.
Any infos?
That would be
there,
good.
there was definitely something odd going on there. But we do have Lundberger now, as we do have our general scheme for trying to show you guys who's in the lead. We're trying to go from the
Guy that
top
dies
left
is holding his lead, dude.
to the bottom right. So we've got
Saboba's
Gormus
still in the
currently
lead.
with Guy That Dies. Actually, wait, no. Guy That Dies is ahead, so we should really switch them. That
Yep.
might be a
Yeah, Guy That
technological
Dies
issue that
is
we're
like
having.
actually
But overall,
popping
the
off,
top
dude.
two guys are the two guys in the lead.
Yes.
And then
It's
Worm
actually a good race, boys.
in the bottom left, and then Lundberger, somebody who we've been seeing a lot on Warrior, somebody who's sticking with Warrior and trying to compete, practicing a lot, putting in a lot more effort, and now an upgrade with a webcam. Love to see it.
I can confirm that Guido is not online. Well, so
Oh, no.
that doesn't tell us exactly whether it was technical and maybe they're just offline, or whether it was indeed a Rouge death and then a tap out. But that might be their race done either way. So unfortunate, as they were having a pretty good
I'll
start
DM
there.
Guido, ask him what happened.
We'll see if they come back, but that might be them done for this one. Unfortunately.
That is really unfortunate. You hate to see it, but it is what it is. Unfortunate things happen. Nonetheless, on Gormus, trying to catch up to Guy That Dies, and so far, despite doing a good job, I'm not sure if he's really getting closer. Maybe Guy That Dies.
Yeah,
He has been around for the memes. He could be. I mean, could he? Hold on. Let me listen. I don't have the in-game view because my computer's broken.
I am
but
starting to think that Guy That Dies is Jose, which would be quite the twist. I think.
I have to watch with a delay. Let me watch a little bit of this playstyle. Guy That Dies.
Yes.
He's a weird
Take
one,
yourself.
because he is somebody who doesn't generally practice that much, but the times that he would practice, you could see that he really would adjust his playstyle to whoever he was studying, or for like a particular way that he thinks is best for racing. So I gotta say, he never really had like a super distinct playstyle. And looking at the way that he navigates the mini map and everything, he looks good. You know what? Maybe.
There's one of my favorite comments in the chat right now is Rise Expert Wine Taster. It's like, yes, this racer on the quite the bouquet.
But it is
the bouquet of Jose.
It is one of those things where those sort of players, like I can tell you, like Tai Killer, I'm Exile, Ban, Tai 23, Havoc, they're so distinct in the way that they approach the game.
They have a distinct texture on the palette that you can definitely tell.
Oh, I see, Ziggy. Okay, yeah, okay, Ziggy. All right.
So good. I'm with you. People do develop their very distinct play styles, and it is interesting to see when they begin borrowing from each other or making those changes and learning from each other. Sometimes you can tell after, because we did have a lot of those race seasons with like the kind of a more slower organic change over time, whereas I feel like we've had this rapid fire, really, really crazy changes from week to week. In the Path of Exile 1 racing days, we definitely had like a slower kind of evolution over time, and
yeah,
and that did lead to situations where you'd see like, you can tell someone's been kind of like watching someone else a lot because their playstyle is like morphed towards theirs.
Yep. And I mean, it has hurt players in the past too, with certain people like the previously mentioned Havoc, him having like a very aggressive playstyle and always trying to go for rank ones has hurt him in the past in patches where maybe speed or full-blown speed wasn't necessarily the way, and players just kind of had to respect some of the mobs, especially when in PoE 1 we had buffs to Act 1 and Act 2 mobs. And a lot of players found themselves kind of needing to really adjust their playstyle.
Good job, Worm. Whoa, okay. Whoa, Worm.
Whoa,
The guy that
Worm.
dies is really playing.
Okay, buddy.
He's really playing well.
While trying to portal. Worm having an interesting Ruja fight there. Ruja does indeed pull out the melee weapon. Obviously, full evasion mode and disengage does help with that. And then they go in. They dash in to finish off Ruja after the melee weapon. Its phase ends. Only to find that there's a mine right underneath Ruja's feet. Take a big blow from that, and then slap by an ad on the way out. Pretty funny. Little fight right there. They did. They survived. They got through though. No deaths to Ruja so far. It's happened before.
True, and it is a lot harder to die to her now that players are so good at itemizing, getting so much HP. I mean, 521 HP for Worm is only a little bit behind the 540 that Angormis has. Although that is with his movement speed spear, I suppose, not his bossing spear, which does have a lot of strength, and it does give him, therefore, a lot of HP.
Yeah, that's
he does take down the
now
Constrictor Queen.
we get a nice visual read of how much strength they've got just by looking at their hit points.
True.
The more life they have, the more strength they have typically.
Yeah,
and the biggest factor for them.
And it's interesting. Oh my goodness, Lundberger with a particularly difficult mob. An essence mob even gets an essence of the mind. So it takes the time to deal with one of those. Wonder if it's going to end up working out for him as you do. Well, essences aren't nearly as powerful in these early stages of the game for crafting as they would be in something like PoE 1, where you can use tons of different recipes and whatnot. None of those things available in PoE 2 yet, but nonetheless, as he drops it on the ground, he might utilize it to get something good. Just kidding, he's not gonna do that because takes down the Constrictor Queen, and this essence was dropped for good luck. Gets a hammer that's probably going to be sold for gold. I think that was a unique hammer of sorts.
Pretty wild, just leaving this ditch in the essence. It's like you always whack down a piece of jewelry or something, eh?
Yeah.
Gone.
Gone. Don't need it.
No, you've already got your gear sorted. There you go. And it's like Angormis just going past those chests, past the gold. No time to waste, scoop it up, that sort of stuff. You know exactly what you need at this point. And that really is a thing too, like knowing the bare minimums, like Angormis knowing that he can get through certain content with like a white mace and stuff like that in the past. This sort of thing has been mapped out quite a lot.
Kind of dies, opening another chest, getting frozen as he heads over to the big Wawa baby fight.
No, Nop, have a good night, buddy.
That's the official name of the fight, but yes, we do see God does take on Azarian and getting that stun nice and early. Azarian gets one slash off. Will he get a second attack off? Oh, he actually is getting a second attack off, and that is a solid hit. A third attack. No, I act shocked. You'd be like, well, it's only 3 attacks, Ziggy, but
damn,
we've been seeing fights where he barely gets one off, so it's not necessarily the fastest we've seen, but
yeah.
Maybe not quite as much damage, but still holding that zone lead as he is about. It looks like as by the time of leaving.
I mean,
about
guy
half
that
the zone
dies is actually like
Angormis.
putting
And
up
I
a
don't know
showing.
And Angormis is catching up yet. It seems like just maybe a
Actually pretty
slowly
clean.
inching forwards,
He's
up
catching
just a
up
little bit. Yeah,
I think
he was
what's
like,
making the
full
big
zone
difference
behind.
is the single target.
Yeah, if he gets that
does
boss,
go for a ring.
We'll see with the boss kill there. That's a nice little piece of it's a little tool to have on your tool belt there, that little side area there, the elemental offering, because that gives you the choice of your elemental ring. So if you know that, hey, I am missing precisely this resistance, and that's a boss fight coming up that I need to be aware of. So if you're missing fire or something for a later boss fight, not wanting to eat a giant fire breath. Did you pick up cold? You picked up lightning, so obviously
I think so, but
just
reminiscent of his rip in Act 1, he really could have used the cold ring there.
Yes. Unfortunately, you can't teleport it back to yourself in the past. Let's see how his Azarian kill goes. So he gets the stun off there right as the first attack's about to come down.
So much faster.
One extra attack. Yeah, only the one extra attack, not even rearing up for the second one. So he gets 2 attacks compared to the 3.
I think he's going to come down to Viper.
Read exactly.
I feel like Angas to die one more time for a guy
that
that dies to hold his lead. Because Guy That Dies is playing well, but
Ooh,
Aang's
and
Act 3 is so
he
clean.
is
I think
taking
if
a little bit
Aang
extra time
throws
to
by dying
accumulate
once
currency, possibly get
more,
some
maybe
items.
Guy
He
That
did
Dies
get
got.
7
I think it's going to
strength
come down to
on
Viper,
his
which it's going to be
2
probably a
socket
pretty good
chest
race.
piece, so pretty good. You know, he manages to find a
Oh shit!
strength rune
$5 from
potentially.
Sir
That's
Artois
definitely something that
over
is
on
going
the
to be
YouTube chat.
equipping
Thanks, bud. I
for some of
appreciate
the
that.
upcoming boss fights. That's kind of the thing about these races too. As we are getting close to the end of Act 2, our players are going to be XPing a lot less, and their
It's going to be
characters
a
are
pretty good race. I
continuously
mean,
going to get weaker. And
Guy That Dies is putting up a showing right now.
you're not going to be keeping up with the levels. You're not going to be picking up items because you're just not killing as much. So putting in the extra time and the extra effort to get as much gear as possible at this stage of the game is going to go a long way.
Yes.
With him
So
progressing.
Angomas' strategy has consistently been to go for level 28 in the Dreadnought. We've had some times where there's been experiments with farming in mines, and also some experiments with like manipulating the zone levels that they spawn at for these various zones through the middle of Act 2. But I think now we're going to see a straight run through,
Yo, Falconist
disregarding
with
all
the
of that,
1, 2, 3,
and
4,
then
5 tier
not
1
stopping in
gifted
Dreadnought
subs. Thank
and
you,
kind of
Falconist.
optimizing to hit
Very
20
generous.
Whole
Our-
new
our-
society.
around the time you get to there.
Sorry, Ziggy,
That's
for
a lot of gear.
interrupting you, but he's really, as we switch over to him, he's got a ton of rare items on the ground. His inventory
What's
is a
going on with
mess. He's just sitting around trying to figure out what he's supposed to pick up, what he's supposed to leave. And really, those are going to be those differences, right? You're always trying to kind of, I don't know, front load your effort in a way where, you know, you're trying to micromanage your inventory as much as possible so that you're ready whenever an item drops and you're not going to have to spend the extra time to pick it up. And that unfortunately doesn't happen for a whole new society. He drops too many items. This loot patch for PoE 2, it was too good. It's hurting his racing time. Too much gear.
We got Guy That Dies right now taking on Ikbab and Epbab and kind of positioning to manipulate them to stand on top of each other so they can get that kill nice and
Cat
fast.
freaking out.
You want your Rake stomping grounds to be hitting both of them if you can, and does a good job of making that happen. Gets a little low through the middle part, but does secure the win pretty cleanly in the end there. So not really any big upsets, giving no opportunity for Angomas to catch up, you know.
Yep.
Angomas is going to kind of keep just slowly inching their way forwards, but not really giving him a chance to grab any real ground beyond that, just kind of that natural, just a little bit faster that he is.
And you can see the focus on Angormus's face. You know, last week there was a whole lot of surprise on his face.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much the whole entire race. This time around, a lot more focus,
shaking.
angry even.
Understandable, yeah, maybe he was. Last race was like quite the shock for him, I think. And you know, after some upsets early on, we definitely saw some like shaky cursor movement. He was saying afterwards, yeah, like he was definitely nervous that he was going to lose it. And now this week, I feel like to have that upset in Act 1 to the boss there, that deletes that first boss there, just not even trying to position them. Or getting that Ekbab kill too. No problem whatsoever. That was a very fast kill, actually. I feel like gaining a little bit of ground there too, maybe. But
Nicely
and
done.
then this race, yeah, to have that upset again early is gonna force you right into serious lock-in mode, I feel, at this point.
Yeah, Bunka already with that funky witch tree at the warrior section. So going to be getting a lot of power with those attack nodes and area attack nodes. Gives you a lot of clear and also single target. But you guys are not even seeing that as he was in the top left. So Guy That Dies is covering up him. And they're in the same zone now. Guy That Dies and Angormus.
Yeah, the catch up is happening. I almost feel like I can see Angormus on Guy That Dies minimap. Imagine that.
Mhm.
That would be you haven't seen the ghost of the other players nearby or something. Ooh, that'd be stressful, wouldn't it? This must feel like Groundhog Day for Angormus right now. Like to have a similar Act 1 situation, to find the same unique spear, to be behind
True.
another warrior
Groundhog
again.
Day, put
Like,
your
the script.
We're
in
looping the
line.
script.
We're following the script. But if we're following the script, Angormus should be pretty happy.
Oh
If it
yeah,
does
but
end up being
if
what it
they
was
continue
last
following
week.
the script into the end, yes, with the 40-second win at the end. Hey,
Yep.
imagine. Everything going according. I only sent that script to them like real late last night. I'm glad they had a chance to read it.
Nice.
Good on them for sticking to it so closely. It's difficult to stick to the script so accurately with all these variables at play. Takes real
nonetheless,
skills.
He's closing the gap,
Guy
dude.
that dies, first person to enter the Titan Grotto.
Also,
Another
something
funky
even
boss.
more important than all of
Seeing
this.
some different approaches,
Okay.
different approaches to which armpit they're gonna stand
Almost 86
Very
fishing.
different,
Yes.
Huge.
Different approach. I was like, yeah, like what? Which armpit?
Yup.
Yes, okay. We're thinking alike on this one, Rose.
I mean, it is one of those bosses that was so stressful in the early stages of PoE2. Well, I guess we're still in the
Yep.
early stages, but when the game launched, everybody was dying to it. It was seemingly bugged. It was seemingly getting fixed, and then it was still bugged, and it was still one-shotting. Now people just stand in its armpit and kind of don't really do anything. Makes us look real silly. All the hardcore players that died to him, just a couple months
Yes.
ago.
Well,
If only we
didn't know
knew
the
that
armpit
there's
tech.
pretty much a spot where you can stand and just be just about invulnerable.
Every boss has its weakness, and for some of them, it's just like you go giant colossus thing. You climb up them, God of War style, and you just sit in their arm, pit and poke them, or in this case, stomp on them. So
Yeah,
now
and
we're
this
about
is
to
why
see some armpit
Jonathan.
stomping.
This is why Jonathan can't nerf this boss, because it's lore accurate, right? The armor is weak under the armpit.
That's right, exactly.
Great point.
Don't touch this
It's a
strat.
great point, Rice.
I just saw a strange pause on a pause on screen for guy that dies right as the swipe for Zalmarath was beginning, which is like what what's going on there? That was a little bit nerve-wracking. He gets him down to halfway. The shock goes down on Zalmarath, speeding up the second half of the fight just a little bit. He's going to move away, so he's going to have to follow him through the arena, but the projectiles there do kind of shim off to the side, so gets that kill before he gets ready, even for any additional attacks. Clears up the ads and opens that portal. Just checking if there's anything worth picking up. Oh, yeah. Tries to pick up a composite bow, but flips it, so full inventory. Oh, well, that's all right. That was only going to get sold anyway.
No news from Guido. He didn't respond to the
now.
DM.
So it's just like right as the fight ends and Gormus's fight begins. I do feel like he's slowly
Probably
making ground
crashed.
2 runes
Ooh.
equipped on his 7 strength chest piece. A lot of
Yeah.
gear swapping.
I'll try and see what those runes are. He is swapping out of the unique spear there. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
Interesting.
His current
Was it a
one just a little faster, maybe? I don't know. A little better overall.
Yeah, you do need a little bit of mobility on this boss, as he just kind of walks away from you. But I mean, by that point, he's already dead. He does keep the spear in his inventory, so
Yeah.
it seems like he's gonna be utilizing it for something else.
Same armpit for both of them. Yep.
True.
And Gormus's kill was about 2 seconds faster. Zalmarath kind of ended right as he settled into his new position for guy that dies, whereas Angormus's one only just begun that movement when he died. So a little bit of a 2, maybe 3 second catch up for Angormus there, but we'll see if that's potentially lost in town due to taking a slight missing the NPC and having to backtrack there. Not ideal.
Man,
Fraction of a
Bunka is
second loss there.
close.
Well,
Bunka
Bunka is close.
Really close, especially
I
for
mean,
a
really-
witch.
For a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Jinx. That's a little wild, actually.
I mean, there's nothing that they
It's
would
a
have been
good
able
race.
to skip or nothing like that, because you need both of the
really? No.
bosses killed to be able to enter the cavern. Bunka
Guy that dies is now
just
leap
popping
slamming.
off. I think this might be a pop-off situation. I mean, you can clearly see that the witch isn't nearly as strong. I was kind of hyping out how you're gonna have access to that warrior skill tree, and I know that Bunka's been practicing a lot, but man,
Could
this
you
to be the
imagine
case
if
on a
the
witch is
ends up
super
winning?
impressive.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, but that's a skill diff. Like this is this is unironically skill diff. Like the fact that Bunka is so close. If he was on a
Actually
warrior,
crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, the same run on a
I'd be
warrior we would be having Bunka kind of like right up there with Angormus and guy that dies right now. That's actually insane. I don't think I've seen a witch this close at this point, playing basically the same strategy but with less strength, right? It's actually wild. I've got to be keeping a close eye on that bottom left of the screen now with how this is going.
Yeah, really impressed with Bunka. I mean, we've seen him in, I believe, every single one of those races. So for this to be the case is just so good. But nonetheless, behind. I mean, I wonder, right? Now that they've got access to all of the warrior stuff, will they be able to make up the difference with sheer ability to play, with sheer skill?
I mean, Aang's got so much practice with Leap Slam.
Okay, so
Not sure.
so guy that dies is level 23 now. He
I
just
feel
hit
like
23
he'll catch it
and
up over
has
time.
stopped leveling. He's kind of like stopping up
Uh-oh.
XP as he goes here.
Okay,
Ooh, I'm going.
the 23. I see. I see.
23,
Guy that
yeah.
dies.
And Gormus is just about to hit 23, it looks like. So a slight XP lead for guy that dies. He usually hit 24 as well, which is slightly unusual.
I wonder, is Angormus gonna just stop XPing as well, or is he going to be going for his usual level
Classic.
28 strat now that he seemingly, as reported previously by Yuzagi, he's not gonna be doing any of the perfect strike shenanigans. It's just gonna be rake. So, what is the cutoff for his approach? Some cheeky weapon swapping there for leap slamming across the ledges. Very nice.
I love to see those skips. Yeah, look at that. It's so good. Yes, for those of you wondering why you see like a small life flask and no skills on the screen for the guy that dies. Guy that dies is not streaming. We're using our internal secret spy tech to get the first person. Oh, you can jump past that little section there with a little bit in the middle.
Yeah.
I did not know that. It's possible.
He jumped all the way down and all the way up. I mean, that's the way to do it.
We did say a little bit of that as well, which does happen on occasion.
Didn't show up last week. He was working out legs. My God.
Yes. I don't know, Rise. I'm becoming more and more suspicious that guy that dies, whose name is Jose, is indeed Jose. Because like otherwise, what is happening? Like, is Jose just is like they didn't win last week, so they just don't show up this week after almost winning? Surely not.
Surely.
I mean, I can tell you I'm impressed. I'm not convinced, but I'm impressed for sure.
Okay. Yes, the palette doesn't quite match. The bouquet is slightly off.
Let me sniff
like
around a little bit more.
Yes.
Yes. I need to sniff around more. I'll let you know soon.
Okay, good. Yes, you continue swishing as we move into the next boss fight here. There's some wacky waving, inflatable arm flailing tube man action coming up for guy that dies right now. This boss has surprised some people with some nasty fire breaths, but for the most part, flails around, unable to defend themselves against the might and power of the Exile races on display here.
Guy that dies with a shock.
Let's see. It's almost like
crazy
armpit
damage
as well. Actually, just kind of sit in that armpit there right now.
He needs shock. He's not
Solidly
getting the shock.
eating away at that life bar. No real issues right now as the boss just kind of impotently rages against them, being like,
Gormus begins his
even
fight.
do?
Aang is literally
they're gonna
caught
be
up.
fighting the same boss at the same time now. Almost. No, guy that dies is just getting the kill before Gormus starts. Oh, it's like end to end right now.
It caught
One
up.
thing's for sure, it's not a 1 minute and 30-second difference, I don't believe. So Angormus is getting close. But will he continue to XP? I don't think so. Is Angormus level 24? Or 23?
Yeah, I'm going to get an update on the levels because I thought that guy that dies
Aang
hit
is
24,
level
but it
23.
must have been like
They're
a weird
23.
delay or
They're
something
both
like that
23.
compared to the ladder because they're both 23 now, which is where they should be staying, it seems. Nice kill for Angormus. I felt a little faster to me. I don't know. Just eyeballing it. We might get the official times soon, yeah. We do have those times being tracked now, which is very cool. And there we go, moving into the Dreadnought. So normally now the strategy here would be to begin farming some mobs. We've had various takes on that, whether it was like using checkpoint resets to farm the champion pack towards the end of the zone, or just clearing through here a couple of times, which has been the favored strategy recently. But after last week, Angormus is like, I didn't want to have to do this. As he equips his he keeps his stomping ground equipped and prepares for Act 3. And like, but I've been forced. Sorry, Master, I must go all out. Angormus is going to be pulling out the rake action as well. And I saw comments on my YouTube video that was like, saying there's no way that Angormus wins next week after, being so far behind and only just barely winning this time. There's like no way that Angormus can win this time. But now Angormus is going to be, pulling out the dirty Stomping Grounds Act 3 run.
He's just so clean with Act 3. It's going to be hard unless for some reason guy that dies become a god.
It's
like,
one of those things where
Angormus's
we
Act 3
didn't
is so good.
really know what he's capable of as a player, right? We knew that he's good. We know that he's winning, but sometimes, the ego gets to you, you're not willing to adjust, you're not willing to learn, you're not willing to adapt to the
Aang doesn't
competition if
have an
somebody else
ego.
comes up with something new. But Angorma is showing, despite the fact that he's the best, he is willing to learn from others. And yeah, a completely different approach this week compared to the previous one, based off of Jose El Diablo's performance.
Okay, so we're getting close to the boss here. I have to forewarn you. You must watch, especially Angormus. I don't know if the other races know about this yet, but you must watch Angormus's end of the first phase, because if you can pull it off, there's a new skip.
I
There's
got a
new
feeling. I'm
technology
caster cursing
that's
right
been
now.
discovered.
Someone's dying to this boss.
And it is so filthy. I love it. So
Wait a minute.
I'm really hoping Angormus can pull. He practiced it a lot yesterday. I think it was just discovered yesterday. He practiced a lot yesterday, and if so, it would actually close the gap if it's not something that possibly Jose, guy that dies, is doing here. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to stay split screen because Angormus is not too far. He'll be starting his fight in just a second as well. We don't want to miss it. So let's see what happens here. I'll get the camera, new skip tech, but I don't know.
Oh my god, this is the perfect part to watch. It would suck to not be able to watch this part right now.
I don't even know what the tech is, Ziggy.
No,
you gotta
let's
keep us
see it
informed
live.
here.
Let's see it live. If it doesn't happen, I'll explain. But
Thanks, TTV.
let's have a look here. So, all right, God that dies. First phase happening. Should be pretty clean. We don't see too many issues in the first phase with the stomping grounds. Gets a nice stun there. Getting plenty of time. And Angormus is prepping for the fight now as the boss does their monologue.
Is guy that dies doing the tech?
Let's see.
Hold up.
We're dodging some lightning here as they wait for the phase to occur.
Clean dodge.
I'm waiting. I can't even tell because I don't have the skills. We can't see the skills on their bar, whether they're even equipped for it, but they should be. And Gomes is beginning. I'm watching. Oh. No, he doesn't know the tech or he missed it. Either way, guy that dies did not perform the tech.
Okay.
He did
Nothing
do the
unusual
tech.
happened at the end of the phase. Okay,
The tech.
Watching Angormus.
Okay, let's see if Aang knows the tech.
What does he do? He's about to phase. Is he going to have to wait for lightning? He didn't even have to wait for lightning. Careful, Angormus. Now's not time to be crafty. Yes! Did he do it? Is he able to move? Or did he miss? No, he missed! My bad, Siggy. He types in the chat.
What am I saying?
What's going on with the
What
screen?
has he done? This is not how it's supposed to go.
Oh, he's
Angormus.
fucked now,
He
dude.
darkened the game.
Oh,
He
no.
broke it by trying to cheat.
Oh, no.
What? Oh, no, Angormus.
He's gonna have to kill it even though he can't see this fucking screen,
Ziggy,
dude.
is this right? This doesn't look normal.
He can't even
not
see
how
the
it's
screen.
supposed to go. This is not the new tech. What
He
have we
just
done?
holds down the button and
I
holds.
mean, the
messed
power of
with
Rick,
no
you don't
man
even
before.
need to
He's-
look.
Don't even
I
need
have
to be
hand
able
it
to
him,
see,
though.
bro.
Look at him. He's not
Blind
even
run.
not even flinching. He's just gonna push through. He tried to finish off the fight with not being able to see.
Um,
Yo, has he got a relog though? Like,
Okay, all right, hold on. Let me catch my breath and I'll explain what the hell just happened.
okay, here we go.
What?
you can't even see.
Did it actually work? He said my bad, Ziggy, so I don't think he did because he wasn't moving on the minimap. Okay, oh my god. He's
Oh, he's
shaking his
good,
head
he's
like,
good,
what
he's
even? Okay, I'm sorry, Devs. The Devs are getting mad at me in the chat background, like, what have you done, Ziggy? Okay, all right.
Faster
Let me
boss
explain
kill
what's
even without
going
being able
on.
to see.
If you disengage backflip at the exact right moment during the phase transition, you will stay standing rather than get knocked down, and you can actually move during the cutscene section and begin fighting the boss a full 5 seconds ahead.
Oh.
So you can actually dodge the cart destruction knockdown. But Angormus missed it because he was crafting and mistimed it. That's why he was typing my bad, Ziggy, because he knew I wanted to see it live and cast it, so he was apologizing to me in the chat. But it seems
to
in
be
his failed
fair-
attempt, he actually broke the game as well.
To be fair, yeah, even if it did work, we wouldn't know because we couldn't see anything. There was a disco ball effect happening.
But that doesn't normally happen. Normally the fight plays out normally. There's not that visual thing is not normally a thing. I think what happened is in his failed attempt he like clipped into the terrain or something and caused a physics bug.
Yeah.
But so that is not normally part of it at all. I've never seen that before. I don't know
Holy
if Angormus has ever seen that bug before.
I've never seen that
But
shit.
Hmm.
And I'm
yes,
a
that's what you
professional
get when you try and cheat, I
spectator, and I've
suppose.
never seen
Sometimes you
that.
break things.
Cheat. That's such a strong word. This is clever use of game mechanics, Ziggy. Hello.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's what I like it in terms of in-game lore because you're just like, oh, you're so fast, you're so good with your disengage that you don't even get knocked over by the cart getting destroyed, right? You just flip and land on your feet, superhero style. which is what
And
Angonis was attempting to do.
it did work against him, as he wasn't able to see the fight anymore. If he,
I mean, did it? He didn't even seem to care. He killed the fight cleanly. It was like actually faster than Guy That Dies,
Maybe.
despite not being able to see the game. It's like Angonis doesn't even need visuals.
Yeah, Rake is pretty good.
I was kind of hoping that bug would stay the entire time, not gonna lie.
Oh my lord.
Thought that'd be
I'm
pretty
gonna catch
funny.
my breath for a second. That's not how that was supposed to go.
Aang is now officially
I
in the
love
lead,
it.
by the
Aang
way.
up into
Aang is
broken
now in
tech.
the lead.
And Gormus is the first person to enter the jungle ruins, so
Bro,
nonetheless,
he's ahead.
he
It
pulled
worked.
ahead. Yeah.
Even if the skip didn't quite work,
He skipped the
as
jewelers.
planned, and things did not go according to plan. He still has pulled ahead here. That is wild.
And he has a 4-link too without doing the jeweler. So he again dropped an early
He's
4-link.
Yeah, he picked up that extra jewelers earlier, and I think that happened last week, but he did still go
It
and
did.
kill them.
Monkey.
So I think
Monkey.
this time he's like, I don't need it. Oh, the monkey
Is he gonna
reset 'cause of
spank the
Yaz,
monkey
yeah.
live?
Okay, monkey.
We've had Angonis is like
Ooh.
normally pretty confident against monkey, but being careful
That
this time.
dodge
Oh
was
my!
crazy,
He's
bro.
actually using the invulnerability frames on the dodge roll to dodge the
like-
slam.
Staying in the slam area and continuing fighting. It's actually wild.
He's timing it.
He's Elden ringing it.
My lord, he stepped up his monkey killing game
What?
here.
People
Huh?
people were complaining how the invulnerability frames are not long enough in PoE 2. Guys, I mean,
Yeah, one frame is enough for Angomis, apparently.
what the hell?
And Guy That Dies too. Did you see that disengage?
Yeah, Guy
I
That
love
Dies
that.
Yeah. Oh
That
my,
was awesome.
they're insane.
Holy.
What a
They've
race.
stepped it up this week.
Dude,
with
it's
the
still,
monkey
if someone
killing. I've seen people
dies,
be
if someone
dying
dies,
and
it's still a
resetting.
new
Oh
men's
my
race.
god, it's beautiful. He does it again. It looks
Are
so
we
good.
missing
Oh, maybe a third time. He nails it every time. Oh my. Amazing.
has
And they
to be
both did different
something happening.
strategies.
Guy That
too.
Dies just way less
It was
damage,
different
though.
for
No
both of them
way.
too. Like, whoa.
Well, yeah,
Most other players
because
here, yeah.
technically, I guess the thing that they're trying to do here is, well, one, you continuously get to attack the boss as you're performing the thing, but by dodging away from it, they're increasing the distance between themselves and the boss, which increases the amount of damage that Rake does. Therefore,
Yeah, but all the damage is
technically,
stomping ground.
they're
You
not
get the
just
disengage
dodging; they're also
too,
speeding
yeah.
up the kill.
Yeah, and you keep like your dodge is dealing damage with a disengage too, of course, like a not insubstantial extra hit there. That
was crazy.
That was great.
That was
Awesome.
ridiculous.
Just yeah, full Monster Hunter players action right now. They've been practicing the monkey kills. I remember like the earlier weeks when it was like, will he take the risk of taking on the monkey? And then he was getting pretty confident. But now this is like a whole other level beyond that. This is beyond confidence.
Yeah, but
Absolute
it's
mastery.
crazy. It's crazy to think that we're already getting to this stage in racing in PoE 2, because imagine later on. I mean, technically, you can
Yes.
do this with every boss. You can
I
just
feel
be
like-
invulnerable.
Yeah. I think with like the movement and the way skills work in Path of Exile 2, there is a much higher ceiling for technical mastery over like the nuances of how you play the game, which is I'm very excited for Path of Exile 2 racing. I figured that was going to be the case, but it's so cool to see that evolution live.
Yeah, it's very, very different. I mean, PoE 1 is seemingly so much more like mechanically demanding, but you don't really need to be as familiar with bosses, at least in the early stages of racing, right? Because you're just kind of killing everything. I mean, there's no real obstacles, maybe other than Brutus or something like that. And yeah, you're always trying to min-max your damage output. But this, I mean, this is not something that we've ever seen in PoE 1, and I don't think we ever will be seeing it, as the game just doesn't allow the players to do so.
I think like the faster
Nonetheless,
pace
same
of
zone.
PoE 1 put like a different sort of pressure on the races, but here we have like
Yeah.
a moment to moment like fast pace where they have to be incorporating things like the movement that's built into skills that previously didn't have movement. You know, things like rake and stuff like that, latching onto enemies, and the way you can
Mhm.
incorporate dodge roll into that means that they're doing a lot more like second to second, I feel, despite the game kind of being like a little bit slower than PoE 1. We get
They're starting the
simultaneous
Chimera.
occlusions.
Same time. Exact same
Oh.
time.
We've got a little bit of a delay pause on Guy That Dies, but Zyclusion jumping up on the same pillar. Yep. This is Angomis pulling slightly ahead in Chimera, or at least maintaining their slight lead, maybe. Pretty
Yeah,
close.
he's ahead.
Oh, that was a stream
Gormus is
delay. Yeah,
absolutely
stream
ahead.
delay as well, with like an extra couple seconds from the stream delay potentially.
We should probably just all hit refresh, just with
I'm gonna do
production
that
and
just in case.
everything. Yeah, let's
I want
just
to get as
all hit the
close as I
refresh.
can because it's too close to tell otherwise.
Yeah, this is gonna get crazy for sure. But Angorma is the first person to finish his fight. And yeah,
But
Act
so
3
close.
is
So
where
close.
he's the master. You know,
Mate,
there really is nobody better.
This is looking even closer than last time. So this is Jose, right? Like there's no way that Angormis is all of a sudden having this fight for his life against another warrior that's just again another new different warrior this week, right? Like surely
he's not
not.
a new guy that dies. Been
I mean,
racing.
again, guy that dies is not just a random guy who shows up out of nowhere with like some alternative nickname. This is somebody who's always been around in early racing for PoE1
he's been raced. Guy that
and
dies
in
is not
late
a
game
random
racing
guy.
too. So he is absolutely somebody who's capable of showing up. I don't know if he was ever capable to show up to this degree, but
This is quite the showing
seemingly
up.
so. I mean, he's really showing up this time. I don't know if it was him showing up last week, but he's showing up this week, and that's all I need to know.
And he's attempting at the same time as showing up to
he's been racing.
Angormis. And
Angorma's getting wrecked on some RNG aspects here, trying to find that soul core, just barely missing it, and costing himself a lot of time. This is a tricky zone for sure, because not only do you have the soul core RNG, but also you need to know whether you're heading over to the boss zone or if you're heading over to the oh, nice box, yeah. Or if you're heading over to the next zone.
He resists the temptation to open up the unique Beetle Strongbox for some extra jewels. Likely already has the jewel in that one socket from the earlier Beetle encounter, the guaranteed one. Slams the Soul Coil in under duress there from several monsters, but
they're so good.
Very nice movement and shield charge through there to clean it out. And there's only a couple seconds difference between them, and Gormus just slightly in the lead moving into the Sanctum. Both of them opting to go right first. Typically, we'll see right, hit the checkpoint, go left, hit the checkpoint, do some resets to kind of jiggle the quest rewards around. We'll see who has a better run of it, because this is a chance for things to shuffle a little bit in terms of their current positions. Their zone reads, how quickly they get those quest items, maybe slight differences in strategy as to how they go about getting them. Let's have a little bit of a look here.
For sure. And just a friendly reminder, guys, there's other players too. I know we're really focused on Guy That Dies and on Gormus right now because we're having a pretty extreme race. This is our last race of the so-called second season of PoE2 racing. But it's really never been this close. I mean, last week, we did have an extremely close race.
We're about 20 minutes off the race being over,
Jose
by the way.
was in the lead with a different approach to Angormus's, but this time it's really a true test to everybody's mechanical challenge, the mechanical ability, but also layout reading is just such a huge factor, as Guy That Dies is going to be the first person to not just find the socket for the soul core, but also the soul core itself. You can see his screen kind of freezes there, but it's because he is resetting at the checkpoint, as we are using an in-game tool to see what he's doing. He's not streaming, but we do have the tech to spy on our players. That's also the reason why he doesn't have any abilities on his skill bar, and also why his flasks are looking the way that they're looking. It's not because he's not actually using any skills. It's just the in-game tool is still in development, but it is allowing us for a pretty fun watch, as we wouldn't be able to see any of this. So props to GGG for putting in the effort to really benefit.
Stepped it up the races for us to be able to see this race, this competition that before would have just been like happening in the background, right? We wouldn't have known. There would have been a story there for us, except like, oh, I guess Angormus almost only just won somehow.
Wait, where is Guy going? What's happening right now?
He's had a little bit of trouble kind of getting that second soul core in there. Angormus starting Zakotal with a nice lead. Looks like he's going to be finished by the time Zakotal starts for a Guy That Dies. So. Yeah, grabbing a few extra seconds here. Down in the bottom right, I was watching Ashnovel do one of the unique strong boxes that spawns like a series of rare monster fights. So it's interesting to see stopping for that one and getting lots of loot and XP as a result on the Sork down in the bottom right.
Angormus manning up with his fight. This is a fight that's also killed him in previous weeks, where he tried to do a little bit too much damage, and that triangle attack just barely clipping him, took him down. Not this week, though, as Gormus heads over to the waterways.
Ooh.
One of the most frustrating zones, I think, in the entire game, both for regular players and also speedrunners. So many mobs, so many things that you have to choose between. Are you going to be killing? Are you going to be using the skip? Are you going to be
Well, Ing's
trying
got
to
a
pull the
lead
lever
now.
while there's a trillion mobs hitting you? A little bit of
He's
desync
gonna have
coming
to
into
die,
play as well,
basically.
as that lever animation is happening, and you're trying to break out of it as quickly as possible with a dodge roll animation cancel. And then Gormez opting to go for a reset at checkpoint and not happy with it either. Interesting. Why? Oh, okay. He's trying to actually go from the other side, but there's no lever here. And
There
Gormez,
are
what was
some
that?
there are some skips you can do sometimes in this zone where if you hit like a lever in one spot, you can checkpoint reset and
Yeah,
then jump from the high ground on the low ground. But I don't know if that was what was going on there
that's
or
not
if this was
it.
like a misplay. Yeah.
No, there was just a lot of mobs,
I mean, it's
and I
close,
think
Yeah.
but Ing's gonna have to
maybe
die.
he was trying to like reset the mobs as he knew it's going to take too much time to deal with them, and then he thought that maybe he can go from the other side. That's why he ended up running into that dead end. Very
Yeah, a
unusual.
little
Not
strange.
something we've seen from him before.
I expected fully for him to have a super clean run through here as well because we saw him struggle a bit last week because your perfect strike setup is just not good for coming through here. Like if you get stuck with a bunch of monsters, you have to kind of like
Right.
leap slam, bone shatter them, and it's very awkward. But
Yes.
now with the rake, like continuing the rake stomping ground into this act as Zengormus is doing this week compared to last, he can just clear out those monsters if he needs to. Like if he needs to slash them and stomp them, they will die. They have the damage. And we do see the guy that dies killing a lot more monsters here, like actually killing everything from around the level, being way more cautious. So despite the upset from Angormus, I don't know. I feel like being overly cautious from guy that dies is going to cost him.
I mean, Angormus is doing the same thing. He's also fighting a big bag. There's a lot of corpses on the ground. If you missed it,
There's the high ground
goes
leap.
for the skip. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Oh, God, that guy's going so low on those packs there. He actually leaps up to the high ground to escape, and then shortcuts down to the other one. Wait, he's got no floss. He has to portal out. He's down to 56 life there.
No way.
That was a little scary. Oh my
That's
lord!
huge. I mean, scary or
gets the
not, he
recall.
doesn't die, but that's going to cost him so much time here.
Yeah, it's like 20 something seconds instead of the minute.
For
But actually, the
sure.
backtracking and trying to get back on the high ground, he's not able to do it. He can't jump onto the high ground. The monster's blocking him, or not quite getting the right positioning with the cursor there. Ends up going around instead. He's losing whatever time Angormus lost. Guy that dies is multiplying over here and just having so much grief. I feel like at this point maybe he should just clear the zone, just get himself a bit of a reprieve to take a breath and get his bearings on where he's going.
Oh boy, and the worst part was he didn't really even need to go where he was going.
Oh no, getting just slapped on this lever as well. Does manage to get that water down and leap down into the low ground though.
Yeah, this is a
Looks
hard
like
zone.
getting things back together now. It is. It had been a bloodbath in plenty of the other races and still causing a lot of challenge for the races. They're pushing through a super under level
So many
now.
mobs for Angormus, but still managing to mostly animation cancel and one-shot them. Goes for the
Yep.
dodge.
Oh.
Is this going to be it for Angormus? No, okay. He doesn't
Ooh, no,
actually
he
even
gets
end up
that. Look
taking
at
any
that.
damage. That was
Calculate.
so
Ooh.
many mobs. Oh, caster curse.
The champion pack woven in there,
No,
doing quite
he's
a bit of
dead.
extra damage.
It's over. It's
Right as
over.
That's what I
he was
thought
just
his
getting
HP.
cleaned
Guy that
out.
dies
Oh, man.
died.
Oh no, guy that dies.
Guy that
Meanwhile,
dies
at the
actually
same time, guy that
lived up
dies
to his
dies
name.
on the lever. I always say this, but holding true to his name there. That is
Roasted.
a huge upset right now.
That's a problem.
As we had
might be it.
such a close run with both of them struggling, and Gormaz just slowly eking out
Without
more and more of a
Angormus
lead,
choking,
and Guy
like,
that dies
randomly
just
choking.
kind of nipping at his heels, but suffering a loss here. That's going to cost him a minute plus the time to catch up. That's going to be huge. And with these folks probably finishing 30, 40 seconds apart, unless Angormus makes some big mistakes here, that might be the thing that secures him the win.
And Angormus is checking his friends list as he's running
looking.
down. So I wonder if he knows. He knows he's pulled ahead for sure. But does
Yeah,
he
people in chat
know
will be
the
telling him.
extent to which he's pulling ahead with Guy that dies dying? And also, will that make him adjust his strategy? I don't believe so, honestly.
His strategy is
That's the thing
just
that
to
we've seen
win,
from
bro.
Angormus from last week, right? That he kind of doesn't look back when he's
Yeah.
running away from danger. And it does really allow him to stick to his strategy and progress at a very steady pace. So maybe he's one of those players where it doesn't even matter, as he's not really going to be making any adjustments. He's very comfortable in his playstyle and he's sticking to it.
Yeah, I will say although that looks like a run ender potentially, that there is still one gigantic question mark here, and
Viper.
that is the Viper boss
Viper.
fight. The Viper
Yep.
boss
Yep.
fight can change everything, as we've seen last week. It was one of the most
Every week.
important deciding factors, and every week, yes, in terms
Yeah.
of shaking up everyone's positions. There's generally some sort of shuffle in the current who's
My
winning
God.
at Viper.
What a insane read on Drowned City by Angormus. A really flawless run through the zone. He's already in the apex of filth. So good. That was something that we saw last week Jose struggle with. The Drowned City layout. Definitely just about cost him the win. And seeing how Angormus, if Jose knew what Angormus knows about that zone, that also might have made all the difference. But again, every zone, every single time, I'm just so impressed with Angormus's knowledge. And that Drowned City was just flawless. And even if Guy That Dies manages to get to that zone, I wonder, actually, that's going to be a big tell. If he gets lost in Drowned City again, maybe
massively
he was
ahead
Jose
now.
from last week. Who knows? I mean, that would be a big one.
I'm going
That would
to
be
pull
also
out
very...
a clip and see if production can give us a little looky of what that skip from Act 2 boss is supposed to look like. I do have that. So we might be able to see that. This is from not the race, but from a practice run. So we might be able to see that. Now might be a good time to bring that up if production is able to get that in there.
I mean, we're getting pretty close to some bossing. I hope that we
I know, we're
watch the
gonna
clip
sneak
and...
Sneak it in now while we have a chance.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So this is what this is supposed to look like, this clip right here. So right at the end of the phase, right as the sword slash happens, he does his disengage, and you can actually see on the minimap he's still moving around.
Oh, yeah.
And he can start the fight standing and just jump straight into it right away there. So that's what that's supposed to look like.
Not intended.
Why don't you show what it
intention.
actually looked like, though, this time now? So we can all have our eyeballs bleed.
I don't think we need to see that again.
That was a good one.
Here we go.
Queen
Just
of
in time
Filth.
for Angormus's Queen of Filth. That was nicely slotted in production. Well done. Good stun there. Kind of locking her against the wall. She's not doing any rolling, moving around. That's exactly what you want.
Such good
You want her to be
positioning
staying
from
right there.
Angormus. He baits out one of the circles just in the
Now get
wall
patched
there.
out.
And it allows him to continuously attack with Rake. Doesn't need to reposition the boss. Nothing like
Beautiful.
that. That's something that we saw some of our other players struggle with, right? Where she places one of those curses, the circle curses, underneath her, and they just, being melee, they don't have enough of an opportunity to attack the boss. But with Angormus just positioning everything perfectly, allows him for a very clean fight.
Yep. Now we have Angormus just taking such a commanding lead now after being so close for so long and even behind for so much of the race. Identifying his rear guard, just considering if that's going to change his strategy. I don't believe it will. Don't think we'll be seeing any bow swaps for Angormus anytime soon.
Temple of Kopek. Entered by Angormus. What kind of read is he going to be having here? Running into a little bit of a difficult skip there. There you go. We're very reminiscent of PoE 1's bookshelf skips in Act 5. It's a very difficult thing to get around, and he doesn't find the exit, so he's going to reset to the checkpoint, and he's going to be checking another corner, as this is a pyramid, and it does have corners, so...
Well commentated, Rise, indeed.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where I remember in PoE 1, people are always like, wait, where do you go? How does this work? In Act 2, guys, it's a pyramid. The exits are always in the same spot.
Go to the corners. Well, Angormus finding that it's the third and final corner this time around. I think last week we had like a first go, nailed it situation. Yeah. I swear there's one of these zones that like it's always the second place you check those. I think it's like actually a thing. Or is this just a we feel like it is sort of thing? I don't know. That leap over the gap is a good one.
I'm pretty sure that the players know where to go after they get the first one. So just like in Act 2 and PoE 1, the first one seems random, and then the next ones are pre-planned. So in PoE 1, they're across. In PoE 2, I'll be honest, I don't know. So I'm not quite familiar with the layouts.
Slamming. Angormus just slamming 3 exalts on the gear, just slapping a bunch of stuff on those shields, ready for Ketsuli here. Ketsuli did give Angormus a bit of grief last week with Perfect Strike.
I was gonna say this was a huge fight. This made all of the difference last week when Ngormis using Perfect Strike and really struggling to hit this boss, and Jose using Rake. This time around on Ngormis with the Rake, I gotta say it's not that fast though. I remember this
No,
being
Perfect Strike
noticeably
is
faster for
definitely
Jose last
faster.
time.
Yeah, Perfect Strike is definitely faster on the bosses. That was the thing, and that was why Angormus really wanted to stick with it. Plus, he quite likes that playstyle for Act 3. He's definitely a fan of it, more so than this. But
Right.
this is probably the last time we ever see the Stomping Ground Act 3 run, I think. But
Yes.
nonetheless, he gets a clean kill. The big advantage really is just you get to go through at 23. You don't really need to push through to 28. So you save time in the setup, ultimately. And a little bit of extra safety, kind of like in some of those zones when you need to clear, like the waterways. Although, as we saw, things can still go wrong. But we did see a pretty clean Queen of Filth, tongue twister there, and Quetzili at the same time for Angormis and Guy That Dies. So Guy That Dies now starting his Temple of the Sun, while Angormis moves into the Ziggurat encampment down into the past, right?
Yeah, definitely a huge gap now between our players, but we've seen Ngormis die. I mean, every time I bring up Ngormis dying, we've pretty much explored every single way that he's died previously. With now mentioning, I believe the last thing that he has died to, and that's Viper. I think he died
Viper's
Yeah.
upcoming.
in the
God,
fourth
no.
race.
He's going so low.
Uh-oh.
Eating all the sun damage, getting stuck by some mobs there against the wall, kind of getting a little bit trapped and going exceedingly low, just barely scraping through on the healing over time from the flask, just keeping his life stable, not even increasing until he finally gets out of there. But I do think he had despite that, a faster read through that zone than Angormis did, so a little bit of a time catch up there.
Yep.
Well, like we said, it's all going to come down to this Viper fight any moment now as Angormis moves towards them.
Yeah, Viper was something that killed Angormis in the fourth race, from what I do remember, but I don't think he's going to be making that mistake again. It is, I mean, with the perfect dodges on the monkey, I mean, maybe it's one of those things where Angormis practiced this boss quite a lot initially, and then eventually he ended up focusing on other things, and now he's maybe a little bit rusty on it, maybe a little bit disrespectful. Let's see. We also have that chest piece, no amulet for him. He's got nice flask going, level 23 with another one in his inventory. So you definitely know that he's got good gear there.
Okay, Viper fight. This is where he has to die the Viper for Guy That Dies to have a chance. He needs to die the Viper once, preferably twice, for him to actually have a chance.
Taking a lot of damage, still swapping out some gems. So despite all the preparation that he's done during the dialogue, still a little bit more to go through.
He's got too much
so
HP.
Far, a lot of damage being delivered. Flasks looking great. Yeah, everything looking very smooth.
No shot.
The stun comes out early for Angormis, so what are we going to be seeing here? A non-invulnerability phase. Okay, so typically with Perfect Strike, with Perfect Strike you would be struggling here, but with the Rake, it's really allowing you to do a lot of damage. Still has to dodge a little bit. Quite a lot of RNG on that purple rain, but that was a ton of damage. Tanks the slam. He knows exactly how much damage he can take. And another stun. No invulnerability? No way.
He's got the Bone Shatter woven in there as well. He's using the Bone Shatter woven in. That was just such good positioning through that whole first section there. Like the way he just subtly drew off that poison, which he's.
But this is what killed him last week. Never mind. He gets it.
No,
he's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, well, now he has to die the Doriani, or else it's GG,
that was the cleanest Viper ever. Yeah, and Ngormis really, really showing off here.
And this is like a strategy he's only done practice for 1 week, right? He's perfect striked for 5 weeks and then done the Rake Stomping Grounds here for 1 week, but transferred his skills across very nicely, taking full advantage of the swap as well to like maintain damage during the floating phase there. Not giving any opportunity for the dice to catch up.
That's pretty part of the reason why Angormis is so frustrated with having to play with Rake. Not only is it just straight up better, it's also kind of easier to play, right? With that name locking and whatnot. You really don't need to practice it nearly as much. That was definitely something that Angormis was getting a huge lead against some of our other players in the early races where
I mean, Guy That Dies isn't like that far behind. He gets a clean Viper and 8 chokes at the end here.
To be able to play a warrior in the past, which is why so many people were frustrated with the warrior class, because people didn't really realize early on in PoE2 what things you were capable of. But now with Rake, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just hold down the button and everything dies. Only thing that you're trying to min-max is get to the back line with that initial jump that you get with it. And Angorma's having a super clean Agarat run and getting really close to 6 out of 6 wins. I mean, we're about to kill
Crazy.
Doriani.
After his dominance being brought into question so confrontingly last week, and even this week up to this point, up to the point where Guy That Dies had that death, and Gormus had been creeping ahead.
Viper.
I think Gormus would still have it either way if it wasn't for Guy That Dies' death. Let's see how the Guy That Dies Vipers goes here. Doing a lot of dodge rolling to just kind of get little chips of damage while she floats around in that poison, but not doing a good job as kind of like getting her off that poison, which you can kind of manipulate where she goes based on where you're standing. But she's just staying right on that poison, which is not ideal for him. Losing a lot of extra time there.
Am I seeing Angormus? Is he getting a personal best in this race, by the way?
Angormus? Oh, that's going to...
Angormus had to reset.
Lower that personal best a little bit, potentially.
Yeah, Caster curse him up.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. It's going to be real close. He's got the 136.54 on screen as his time to beat, but he's at 150 right now. 135 right now, sorry. I don't know. I don't think so. It's going to be very close.
When we're talking about Angormus's personal best, by the way, we're pretty much talking about the world record, just so you know. Oh, yeah. So him getting so close to beating it is really impressive in a live run. For sure.
Yeah, it normally happens in one of the dozens of practice runs, not the live. It's always exciting when a personal best or world record is beaten during the actual live race. Is awesome. It happens only occasionally.
Such a long fight for Guy That Dies.
I think
Viper
he's
is putting up such a big fight.
Is he out of flask, or is he just holding off on that last flask charge use? Oh no, I think he's out. He'd be using it now for sure if he had it. No, this could end in a reset. That's not what he wants. Perfect positioning. That's good. But he can't engage. She's on the poison. He has to wait. Even if she comes down now. He's doing a great job of positioning that. Oh, that was really good spot for her to land. Dodges the slam. Has to. Oh, he gets the heal. He had one charge in reserve. It's just enough too. Very good. Good job kind of like clutching out that Viper kill. Meanwhile, Angormus moving on to Doriani. Phase 1 here, looking to secure his 6th win and put to rest any doubts onto his dominance, his divinity as the god of Path of Exile 2 racing right now. First phase is down, laser phase navigated, flasks are full, locked in, good to go, feeling confident. What a guy.
Otherwise, it's 6 out of 6 for the boy.
Checks his friends list real quick just to be sure, but
Great
he knows.
Time.
I mean, he's just below his personal best, so he knows that there's nobody even getting remotely close with the adjustment to the strategy from last week of having observed other players. Oh, damn. He's really he's following the tutorial right now, this guy.
Oh,
no way! He's dead!
Oh, he actually died! Oh, shit!
He was watching the tutorial and he died!
No shit!
What? I have many questions about what just occurred.
Wait a minute.
I think this is the same thing that Shackle Coach died.
I cannot believe it.
Just a crit from that slam attack. Players are choosing to tank it, and every now and then, 50-50, it just crits you and you die.
You would not believe what happens next.
On the screen, what the heck?
Listen.
He needs to die one more time.
Why not? I mean, Rake is a good skill.
Okay. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh man. I mean, one more rip.
If only Guy That Dies was just a little faster, dude.
Let's see, Angormus.
Okay, Angormus, you need to die one more time.
To Doriani before.
2 deaths.
2 deaths.
So close to his personal best with 2 deaths is wild. 4, 3, 2, 1, Angormus, get back in the fight, mate. Get back in the fight.
Yeah, nowhere near the personal best anymore.
Okay, here he goes.
Okay, so
surely
he's still got this in the bag, unless that happens again, because Guy That Dies just...
Oh, Ziggy, I like your strat. The caster... Oh, that was such a nice caster curse. Damn. Really
Surely
subtle.
It can't happen twice.
I've never seen this. It's never happened before. There's no way that Angormus can die again. No.
He's too good to make that same mistake twice.
Oh,
There's no way. Go so low, mate. What are you doing? It's scaring me. My heart is racing. I feel alive. This is good. This is good. First phase going down pretty well. Did take a bit more damage.
Prime. Start choking.
Nicely navigated the the back roll into the laser dodge roll. Oh, he's
Alkaliv G. Come on.
pushing his luck a little bit there, maybe. Oh, that positioning between the lasers. He's so good.
It's
How
so
is he
clean.
so
It's
good?
so nice. Pops all of the ground effects.
Oh, yeah, despite everything going on in the arena, he still takes the time to clean up the arena for the next phase, getting himself ready. Is he opening the tutorial again? No, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
Unless-
What is he doing?
He's thinking about it.
Don't do it. Okay.
Okay, the real question is he gonna dodge the slam attack? He
Is
does
he
dodge it
really
this
thinking?
time.
Probably for the best.
Yep. I wonder if he knows if he can really take any risks here. I don't think he
He can
wants
do it
to,
one more time.
regardless of. Okay,
I
here we
just
go.
think-
Is he
oh,
dodging it?
no,
He tanked
I-
it. This is the attack that killed him previously. How
The
did
no,
it
knock,
kill
the
him?
knock.
A guy that dies is about to finish his first phase. He's caught up so much. He was minutes behind.
Oh,
Wait,
Guy
guy
that
that
had
dies
an
is on the
amazing
phase?
catch up after that death from Angormus. That really puts the pressure on here. But Angormus has got this is
got
ideal
tons.
for him.
Okay, all right, all right.
Is it
He just
prime?
has to, there's
Oh,
no
and
way he chokes this.
vulnerability.
He's so good at this. He's not going to choke
It's
this.
too close. We might have to split screen. They're both on.
No way.
It's the second phase is starting from guy
Dude,
that
it
dies
is
too.
close.
I mean, Angormus
Watch
is
him
really
choke.
taking his time here. Tanks another slam.
Yeah.
I don't think that was
Playing
intended.
it safe. Yeah, if you've got a 30-second lead, then playing it safe is probably the
Wow,
call.
it's actually close.
Because the death is the thing that loses it for him here.
He's
But he can't
really
lose to
messing
just
around
straight
with his
time.
gems so much.
Crazy.
But
Oh,
laser?
the-
Oh, but the
stun.
The
This is so
stun.
perfect. That was so good.
Actually
that secures
close,
it for him
dude.
for sure. There's barely any time. the
Oh,
big back
that
swipe right
almost
into the
crit him.
thunderbolts. Oh, he took so much damage
Holy
from that, but he
shit.
gets the
Okay.
win, and Gormus
Wow.
does it again.
Close,
Oh, he was
dude.
so close to losing it. It almost slipped through his fingers.
Made him
Like
sweat there
seconds
towards the
apart,
end for
dude.
sure.
Seconds.
Oh, my heart. And Gormus, well done, mate. He does it once
And
again,
Gormus with
proves
the
his
6
dominance
out of
with
6.
his 6th win in a row.
He made it close on purpose.
We'd
I
say
feel
that like there was just no chance, but these last two races prove that's not the case. He has to be 100% on the ball. He practiced non-stop for this one and changed strategies in a way that he didn't want to do to just try and stay on the cutting edge,
And guy that
and
dies
has managed to do.
finishes
Gets
very
2
close
uniques for the boss kill. Nice.
Nice.
They're just raining treasures on him for the win right there. I love it.
Yeah, and
I
guy
love
that
it.
dies just behind.
I have to admit that, in some of our previous races, it
Close
was
race.
so clear that Angormus was just the player that worked harder than anybody else, and he was just so much better.
True.
Nobody was really coming close to him, but it wasn't necessarily because he was better. He just worked harder, right? But this time around, we have so many players working so hard.
You become better
we
by
had
working
a
harder, bro. It's the same.
showing of Jose El Diablo last week too that made Angormus adjust his strategy and everything. And without a shadow of a doubt, everybody else is tryharding and they're trying to improve and they're trying to be better than Angormus now, and they're just not. No matter how much any of the other players try, it just seems like Angormus is simply better.
Yeah, he can make mistakes and still kind of hold that edge, right? Like, so
Yeah.
that just kind of like really makes you think about just how much of that edge he still has. But they're
Yep.
getting so close now. And guy that dies, finishing off his Doriani kill to take second place warrior. Absolutely impressive, monumental effort from him. And like,
Oh!
no, what?
He did. Wait, did that count?
Huh?
What? Dude, he died right.
Devs?
It counted.
What happens in this case?
It did count.
Okay, we need a
counted on the
judgment call
leaderboard.
here.
It counted on the
That counts,
leaderboard.
right?
It
I
did
think
count
that
on.
counts.
It did count on the
It has to
leaderboard.
It counts. Huh?
Look at the leaderboard.
What?
It counts.
I mean,
it
he's not
actually
respawning, which is good.
Just see
Okay,
question marks.
did count.
our devs behind the scenes are typing out question marks, all of them.
All I
we
see
need
from the devs is question
information.
marks.
How is the ladder looking like?
It counted on the ladder.
In the chat as well.
We're the ones question
Look.
marking. Okay,
Huh?
it counts.
It counts.
counted.
It counts. The ladder says yes. Okay, it counts. Amazing. What a finish. Thank you for that. God dies with that amazing finish. Sorry about the cast curse there, buddy. But yeah, that's if you're gonna do it, that's great. What a way to end your race. That's hilarious. We're gonna very good.
We got question marks.
We have a. Oh, what have we got? We've got a clip. Oh, is this the clip
Got a
of
replay.
Angormus's death from earlier? Oh, I just Did he do that on purpose?
I feel like he was. I feel like he was trolling.
Wow.
I feel like it's a political commentary, right? He brings up the raid tutorial only to die. Oh my
He
god!
got absolutely
amazing.
blown up there. That's crazy. That ability, I think it just has a lot of crit or something. There's something inconsistent about that one.
His chat says he does it on purpose. I was figuring it was some sort of political commentary going on there. It's like, yeah, look, let me bring the raid tutorial up. Oh my god. Oh, catch my breath for a sec as we move into phase 2 of the race here to find out how the other classes out and how they go.
All right, GG's the winner of Aang, 6 out of 6.
I mean, guy that dies does too.
Man
I
wins
guess.
all 6 of them.
We enter, the next phase of the race, which is everybody else finishing.
The live stream will continue on
Still
Twitch.
get demis
That wraps
from
up the
all of the
YouTube
class
portion.
wins, a unique.
You can join with the link
I
there.
guess
I'll
there's
post in
6 of them,
chat. It
but
is
still,
Twitch TV.
a nice little art,
Show you here, Twitch
nice
TV,
little
Darth
microtransaction
if you want to
for all of our
watch
class
here.
winners. And so far, only the Warriors
Right
have
here.
finished, as you see now, with the
And
top
I'll
left
see you
being
over there
Bunka,
for the rest of the
our
POE
witch
for the evening.
representative.
Thanks for watching,
No
YouTube
demon
boys.
form this
And we'll
week.
continue on Twitch.
A different approach, trying to get through the waterways. Shackle